How's everybody doing tonight? Are live. Hopefully everyone's having a wonderful evening. Doing I myself could be better, but we're gonna still have some fun tonight. Excited. What's up, Ducky? Welcome. Lud, Astro Lizard, Shikaka as well. You guys lurking in the background there. Action, what is up? How's it going? Hopefully wonderful. Way, Brochacho, welcome. How's everyone doing? Doing good? Hello, Cake. Welcome. Jeremy, Lude, what's up? You did get beat, Lude. You did. How many bases tonight? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bases lined up right now. Not totally sure if we're going to get through 8. I think we're going to have... I say this with a grain of salt. We're going to have a slightly different formatting set up here for tonight versus the first night, meaning I'm going to try to have a format in general because there wasn't one on the first night. So hopefully it's a little more organized. Making the video that was posted today, I was like, all right, 2 hours is probably too long, but yeah, we're gonna shorten them up a little bit. I'm gonna try to be a little more concise and a little less rambling, babbling man that talks a little too much. I'm gonna try to be a little more precise in the way I speak on these ones. So hopefully it'll keep everyone engaged. Hoping like 15-20 minutes per instead of 30 to 45 minutes per, because I was so excited and having so much fun. But we got a lot of people to get through, and I want to keep making cool videos for you guys and keep making the base review videos for YouTube as well, so they get better and better. And the better I do on the stream side of it, the easier the editing is. So we will see. Yes, Brochacho, 8. Nowhere near done with the build, but I did get done with the log part. Nice, man. Good to hear. Dang, your base looks crazy. Thank you, Cake. Appreciate it. You're going to see some more crazy bases tonight as well during the reviews, so it'll be a lot of fun. Odd question, but anyone play Clash of Clans? I do not. No. I do not. What's up, Crimson? Welcome in. I was going to give everyone a few minutes, kind of get in here before we start the reviews. I did see Astro Lizard in here. That's who we're going to be starting with tonight. So be prepared, my friend. That is the current plan. The person who was going first asked for another hour or so, so we're going to wait. Do theirs a little later, so they have a little bit more time to work on theirs. So only means we get more cool stuff to look at. So it's a win. You think I could make a bright from my base to the tree? What's a bright? A bridge? Might burn through all the ground and 2 bases if you do 8 tonight. No, it's like people are reaching out like crazy. I think we're good, but we'll see. We will see. The hope is people just keep going crazy. I know there's a lot more cool bases out there, so we just gotta keep finding people. Is really what it is. Made a base in creative, and now I'm making it in my survivor world. That'd be awesome. You think it's a cool, fun base? Doesn't have to be anything too crazy like mine. I would consider crazy. It doesn't have to be anything like this, but if you have cool bases, feel free to reach out and on Discord, and we can make it happen. For anyone new, that is the Discord. It only actually works on Twitch. I gotta keep forgetting that. For anyone on YouTube. Got the reunion of Brochacho and Crimson. Who we will be reviewing a base of tonight. So that'll be a fun one. I took a couple sneak peeks, as you can see in the thumbnails, and I'm excited about tonight. It's gonna be fun. It's a suburban style house on the side of the tree. Sounds interesting. I'm interested to know what suburban style house is. Could be a lot of things. All right. Yeah. Okay. So, bear with me tonight. Naturally, about 2 hours ago, I got a horrific headache that's just starting to go away. So I'm gonna try to be as fun and as exciting as I can possibly be, but I'm a little under the weather. So we'll see what happens. In this, just a big old water bottle. Hydration. Hydration is key. Screenshot in my base tour thumbnail. Yeah, I couldn't help myself. I didn't look around them, but I did it. I saw the outsides and was like, yeah, that needs to be in a thumbnail. There's some fun bases tonight, though. We got a lot of different things for tonight. Got small bases, big bases. Got all sorts of fun-looking stuff, so I'm excited to get them shown off for everyone. What's up, Reaper? How's it going? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing good. Chikaka, don't tease me like that. I don't want to know about your base until you're willing to share it. All right? You can't be teasing me like that. I was in, I think it's Karate Pirate, right? Is that what his name is? Official? No, not Karate Pirate? God, I can't think now. My brain is gibberish. Yeah, I was in Pirate's stream, another YouTube content creator. And he was teasing me all for like an hour about some cool out of the map bases they were making that he couldn't show me yet. And I was like, bro, don't be teasing me like that. Come on. I need that. A mega build on Burgle's nose? Interesting. Interesting. I thought about building somewhere around Burgle at one point, but I don't know. I haven't even really explored Burgle's body very much. Probably do that at some point. All right. So, tonight, we are doing community base reviews, as we were talking about. I'm going to try to keep them to 15, 20 minutes or so. A little bit more concise, at least for the running around like a goofball, getting lost phase of it. We're going to actually kind of grade them, again, on a very lighthearted, fun scale, just to give people a bit of an idea of where they can improve things and what they're doing really good on, what I think could be slightly better. Again, everyone's tonight is really cool, so should be really fun anyways. And then if I am not responding to chats, I'm going to try to stay a little more focused during the tours themselves, especially because they're a little shorter. I will check chat for the specific person that we're reviewing. So if I'm reviewing, like we're starting off with Astro Lizard, I'll make sure to focus on their comments and stuff, and then I'll get to other people's comments afterwards and sort of like a Q&A session. We can talk about it afterwards, but I'm going to try to stay focused on just the base review while we're doing the base review, and then we'll open it up for everyone else to kind of give input, talk about it. You guys can all talk amongst each others and have fun with it while I'm doing the review portion. If I see anything I really want to point out, I will, but I interrupted myself a lot, and so the video got super long because I was just reading chats and talking and making points about the base and then making points about the chat. And we're gonna try to tone the ADHD down just like a hair tonight. If that's possible, we'll see. I make no promises, and we'll see where it goes from there. You focused? Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's a wishful thinking is how I'll put it. Tore an ACL, buddy. I'm gonna have surgery, but the good thing is I'll be able to watch your videos. Dude, that's such a bummer. I have also torn my ACL and my meniscus, and it sucks. It really, really sucks. So I'm feel sorry for you, man. Wish you a speedy recovery. Good luck. Don't do it again. Do not do it again. I would say stick to hurting it once and not anymore. It's not a fun one. All right. So, my world won't disappear if I share it. What does that mean? No, if you just make it a shared world, it just means I can make my own copy of your world. But I can't personally do anything to your world. If that's what you're worried about. So, no worries, man. You're good. You're good. Start acting my age, dude. I know the feeling. I know the feeling. It's tough. It's tough. Okay. We are going to turn that off real quick. As I join the world. Don't want to give any spoilers. Astra, this one's for you. I'm gonna try to find a bed real fast because I did a really poor... Perfect. Astra, you mad lad. Putting a tent right in the front, so I don't even have to worry about it. My guy. Thank you. Try to be a little bit more on top of it today. Try not to die halfway through. See if I can find food first. Which Astra has given me. We're good. That should probably be enough. Good work. Thank you for that. You were prepared. What the heck is that? Boink. What's up, Log Dev? How's it going? Okay. Don't know what you mean by that, Reaper. Who you talking about? All right. So, we are... Yes, I know you can't see the gameplay. It's supposed to be a reveal, is the idea. I don't want... Because I'm always looking right at the base when it loads in, and I don't want that. So, here is your... Come on now. Excuse you, OBS. Turn on the game, please. What? You were not late. We just started. There we go. Okay. Nope, we are just starting right this second. So we are good to go. Alright, so if I ignore comments or anything in the chat, bear with me till we're done with the review. Then I'll keep messing. I'll keep messing. After the original review portion, we'll open up, talk to chat, see what people say. And that might be something that gets added into the video as well as we get into editing and stuff. Oh. So, let me just pull up one thing real fast. All right. Appreciate everyone's patience. Thank you. You got your popcorn? Let's go. Everybody get your popcorn. Everyone ready to go? All right, so first up, we have Astro Lizard. Let's see what they created and put them through the TimberBuilds review. So, here you go. They have a ranger station build right here, located next to the snack bar outpost, right next to the beginning area of the map. Obviously, can't knock them on the location. It's a really easy place to build. Pretty safe overall. You're not going to get attacked and destroyed too quickly. So, it's a good spot. Good location for all the beginning resources and stuff. Maybe sticks are a little far away, but I think there's a decent amount in some of these areas. So, can't really knock the starter location. We're looking at this thing. I mean, this is huge. One of the more interesting builds that I've seen in the starting area for sure. Love the way, like, right off the bat that you went with verticality, first off. I think that's something that a lot of people do not necessarily get into when they're building with bases, and I think building high, building interesting spaces, the decks, the views, the different areas, the levels, adds a lot of interesting detail right off the bat, so I absolutely love that you went up instead of just out. That's a really good starting point to create a unique, interesting build. The exposed stairs, the roofs, the like gangplanks going on over here, all really interesting little things that I see right off the bat. So I'm loving the way you've kind of created this like super unique indoor-outdoor base, and it's definitely looking really cool. Now, I did hear on this one that there's a lot of secret pathways, I guess is the best way we'll put it. And they challenged me to try to find as many of them as I can. I did a little bit of viewing around on this, and we're going to get totally lost in this base, so it's going to be really cool. But I'm guessing we're going to be jumping off the top here at some point to land on that, because why wouldn't we? If people haven't seen a ranger station outpost base, this one is epic. Honestly, you guys are having so much fun with building in these ranger stations. I think we just need our own ranger station, because this makes me want to build in here and figure out how the glitch was done, because it's like super simple, but it has so much of the stuff you need. The fact that you get the analyzer in your base, that's why I personally loved my pagoda base, was having a field station always accessible. So something that you can always just come in, you have access to all the main things. If you're doing the story and stuff still, you're good to go. So I love that you incorporated this inside of your base as well. And it's definitely a fun little design piece. Nothing too crazy, but like, I mean, some of these small details are already really interesting little things. Like I'm stealing this 100%. I love the use of quarter triangles in any way, shape, or form. So anytime I see something like this, it just makes me want to steal it and use it in my own way. But definitely a good little start. Love the little details. Very well done on those. Wish we could access these the lockers. That would take it to the next level. But that's not even the cool part of the base. That's just the start. So we got a little bit of storage down here. Multiple entrances. Oh, I like how you tied this in as well. Just like a nice little entryway to the whole thing. Sap collectors are close. Always really good. You have all your like functional base stuff down here in this little area, which is super useful. You use the little jerky rack idea. Definitely a big fan of that one. Excuse you, sir. Do you have a pass to get up here? I don't think so. So, let's see how quickly we can get lost. We have a nice little storage area. Little main base with, again, I was talking about the balconies that are all over this base that are really cool, honestly. I love how compact and simple this base storage room is. Like, it has everything you need, but it's not too over the top. It's not 10,000 chests like most of my bases. Love the little curved chest storage spaces. Those are really cool. And then the fact that you kind of use the roof for more of the functional parts of getting mushrooms and growing things. Especially because you want them outside, you want them on a balcony, so they grow, they get sunlight. So it logically makes sense to me. So definitely love that. It's also right next to all of your functional stuff. The fact that all your sap catchers and everything are right here, easy to get to, just makes sense. So good job on the flow and the layout of this so far. And I'm gonna try not to miss anything, but it's just stuff everywhere. And there's just little details, the stacking things up on the top areas. You got all your little things, just armor sets, little spiderlings. You're having fun with the decorations, which I love to see. They're not super over the top. They're just like, they do what they need to do. They look nice. They're simple. You're having fun with the armor dummies, which I know Ludarav will love. And very good so far. Oh, and you do have stems right here. Easy. Maybe one day they'll make it so we can chop these down and they don't come up in the middle of a base, because that would be nice. And as you can already see, we're finding little pathways. I'm sure I've already missed one that we could probably get to somewhere, but who knows? We're just going to explore it and see what happens. And the layout, again, just like you're having fun with it. It's not just squares brought up to the ceiling. You kind of like make a space and then it's off to another space. You're automatically just drawn. I don't even want to look at things. I just want to keep looking for pathways, and like every time I see something, I just want to like, what's up here? Or what's over there? Oh wait, what's this balcony? Like the layout, it draws you to the different areas of the base, which I think is really well done. And even some of these just little details where things are not, the ceiling's not one height, you're messing with the verticality of it, which is really good. I mean, this, if it was, not that you can actually build that, but if you put a floor here to make it level, it would feel cramped. So you've done a good job of the ceiling spaces open up when you get to these different locations where like this is a viewpoint, so you don't want it to feel like it's crushing you almost. So I definitely like the way you've done that. And again, with the little balconies, we hit our first, unless I've missed some, we hit our first little gangplank walkway here, which gets us over to the other side, which immediately I just want to go to the top. Like, it's got such an interesting like chaos level of design that it's like, it really draws you in and makes you just want to explore. You have no clue when you're going to come near something, what any of this stuff is. I keep thinking like I can go somewhere, and then it tricks me, which is a very fun way to design some of these bases. So I definitely like what you're doing with this stuff. And then more little balcony spaces. I don't know what you're going to put on these, but I like something about them. It's a cool little like viewing space up top, and just little functional things. It's not anything too insane, but it's just fun. Assuming maybe you have lights up in these things. If not, I would definitely suggest throwing some more lights up in those. That feels like it wants to be a chandelier, so like embrace it. Maybe get rid of the grass and go crazy and put a bunch of lights there. I'm a big fan of lighting. And say that's what really takes spaces. And you could definitely see it at night, that you have a decent amount of lighting. But that was one of the things that I think, especially with all these different areas and these locations, you could definitely get away, kind of similar to Loon from the other night. Switching up the colors, adding in some more variety, drawing your attention to some of the cooler like locations on the base where you see potentially things like these locations. Love tossing in some just lights on the back ends of these, because when it's outside and you're looking from the outside in, it's really gonna like pop some of these cool design decisions you made, because the stem, they have these gaps so they naturally feel like kind of windows, and so I think it's a good thing to take advantage of those decisions you've made, whether you don't have a whole lot of options for these curved walls at the moment, but I think when you use something like that, it makes a lot of sense to just go all in on those decisions and mess with little things like this. They just, they naturally feel like they want lighting and stuff. Now, can I get over there? Do I want to get over there? Do I want to go over here? I don't know what it is, but I want to go on it. Oh, this comes from the outside here. Holy cow. This is what they were saying. There's just walkways, gangplanks. Dude, I love this. I literally walked past that so quickly, but the fact that you just got like, oh, here's a natural ramp. Like, I love these little design decisions that you've made so far, where there's a leaf that looks like a ramp, and you decided to take advantage of that like built piece and just make something fun. Super fun little, instead of just embracing stairs, having fun with it and making it part of the design, I think is really interesting and cool. And the fact that they're literally everywhere. Doesn't matter where you are, there's a different thing everywhere. You could enter here, you can climb up that, you can go all the way around. You got so many fun little just things that make me want to run around this base for another hour. Very well done on the little pathway so far, and I feel like I'm just looking for them now. And how do we get to them all is the question. Go that way. There's just there. I don't even want to follow the stairs. I just want to follow the paths, but there's so many. Now we're like up at the top. Very well done. It's definitely like very apparent that you're having fun. And that's what I love to see, is your base is fun. You're enjoying it. You're testing things out, whether it's using the ramps and the stairs. You got little storage points all over the place, which is really just a fun way to kind of mess with things. Not even sure how I'm supposed to be using these ramps, but the fact that you're having fun with it, man, it's awesome. Very, very well done on that sense. Make sure we don't miss anything is the hard part. Oh wait, we have to do this, you know. Can't not. They give me a chair to sit on, I gotta mess with it, right? So fun. I was wondering what you had done with this. Just having fun with the built environment, I think, is a really cool thing to do. You got all your little bug mounts and stuff. I'm assuming you're still adding more and more of those as you keep going, but very well done on the fun. The fun level of this base is high. You're not stuck feeling like you have to build a square house and it has to make sense. You're just having fun with it, which I think is the right way to think about base building. Doesn't necessarily have to have a rhyme or reason to be good. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. But yeah, just everything is very fun. And again, like what you're doing here now is what I'm kind of talking about with the lighting as well. The fact that you have like red bugs, not that it has to be, there's a red bug, it has to be red. But that is where I love playing with the bug mounts and all that stuff, or the stuffed bugs and the head mounts as well. Is you have green lighting next to them. Something about the lighting in this game can really add a huge amount of like accents and designs to spaces that would maybe feel a little bit more plain and simple without them. And I'm like, is this a different entrance? Yeah, that's a different entrance. You got stuff everywhere, man. Loving it. Also enjoying the fact that you have like multiple entrances everywhere that it made sense. You just were like, that'd be an efficient way to do it. So it's very well done on those senses. And Astra is saying, just so you know, this is 10% of my current build prepared to get lost next time. Whew. I'm ready. I'm already feeling lost, and it's not that huge of an area, which means you've done well on the Ludarav factor, if we want to call it something. The chaos theory is in swing, and I'm here for it. But yeah, very well done so far, man. Very excited to see what you do with it. I think if we're going to talk about specifics that I would suggest on this build, again, lighting, I think you could push it a little further. And I know you're not done with this by any means, so don't take these with a grain of salt, of course. But messing with the lighting a little bit more, because I logged in at night and it was lit up very well, but even more, I think would really push it to that next level. I like the way the lights also work with like the mushrooms and stuff. So if you find ways to kind of build lighting around the mushrooms, they almost glow, which I think would look really interesting on your base. I mean, materiality and stuff, you're having a lot of fun with it. I wouldn't maybe hesitate in throwing in more of the like quarter triangles and triangle pieces on some of these. Maybe putting more like windows and opening up a few of these walls, because what I really am drawn to like these spaces where you can see through sort of an open space, and you can get a really interesting effect from here, and maybe just doubling down and doing a bit more of it. But I mean, honestly, you've done that very well in many of these locations, and I love the structure. The use of structure as design as well is very well done. As although it feels maybe whimsical and magical, it also feels, for the most part, of course, maybe some of these walkways on the outside are a little futuristic and out there in that sense, but I'm kind of amazed at how well this feels like it's supported in terms of like a real structure, because it's very easy to have these things feel like floating chaos, and it doesn't. It feels very well grounded, pun intended. Very well set up. The use of the structural pieces is very well done to keep it feeling kind of light and airy in these upper locations. So I really like what you've done with these different design pieces, especially where you've done like these. There's the windows, still leave everything kind of open and airy. It feels very fitting for the way you've kind of designed this whole thing. So I would say, like, continuity-wise, you've done a very, very good job in that sense. But yeah, so if I'm going to say, what are we going to grade this one? We definitely... One second. Didn't pull open my things. Okay. So in terms of grading for this base, first impressions, easy 5 out of 5. I think it's super fun. I think you've had a wonderful time building this. Like, I can see how you've enjoyed building in this game and how you're testing things out. You're not repeating a bunch of things. It's super interesting in almost every area and level. It's out of 5, so that'd be a 5 out of 5. I don't know if I said anything else, but it was 5 out of 5. First impression's fun. I immediately, the second I saw this base, I just wanted to explore, which is all you can really hope for. When you see a base, you go, I need to see what is happening. I see the fun levels, the different gangplank kind of walkway areas that immediately draw me into it. So first impressions, it's super interesting, very, very unique in terms of the way you've styled it and you've designed things. It's like treehouse base without a treehouse, which is really interesting. It's very difficult kind of design to properly create without it just feeling like total chaos. There's a good amount of rhyme to the reasoning, if that makes sense. So again, like, hopping straight into the layout and flow, 5 out of 5 as well. It just flows. It forces me to want to walk through the base, which is all you can really hope for as an architect. You don't want to design things that people have no interest in seeing. And from every location in this base, I see another location that I want to get to, and I don't know how to get there, which I think is a very fun, kind of playful aspect to this build that I really enjoy. As we were talking about, structure and realism, I have to give you a 5 on that. The structural pieces that you've used are, again, really, really, really well done. They don't feel super out of place. You haven't used too many of them, but you've used enough. You've also really done a good job of playing with those pieces in terms of adding something that's structural, but also just pure fun. So I really like the way you've kind of created a whimsical fantasy type structure, but also tried to purposefully make it make sense, where these things aren't necessarily just huge overhangs, huge cantilevers that can lose the effect if they look too unrealistic, where it's just a bridge floating out into nothingness. And so you've done a great job on that aspect of it. Design and aesthetics, again, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5. I think you could push the design a little further. I think you've got, like, elements, as I showed this, some of these railing situations. I want more of it and more of it. But that's because it's done at a really high level, and you've done a very good job at it with it. So it makes me want more, is a huge part of it. The functionality of the base. All your function seems like it's really well located. Everything kind of lower levels, easy to get to. Your storage is easily accessible. It's all close to the functional pieces, the crafting stations and stuff. So you're not running around the base. You're not going up to the very top level to do one thing and then having to run back down. So functionally, it all makes sense. Your storage is really simple and easy to use. I could immediately tell when I walked in where I would go grab things and then how to start making stuff if this was my base. So it's very intuitive in that sense, and then keeping all of your farming stuff out front as well to add to the design is also a good functional thing. And the creativity and theming of the base, creativity, easy 5. You've had a ton of fun with the design of this whole thing. So I'm a big fan of how you're just playing with it. You're not holding yourself to specific conventions or ideas you've necessarily just seen from other people. It's very unique. You kind of just like let things happen and let the creativity roll. And you can definitely see how you've just created different sections of this base and you're having fun with it. So I love the creativity. And again, on the improvements side, you're doing wonderful. This one isn't really a grade or anything because everyone can make improvements. Every base can get better. Every design can be pushed a little bit further. But if I had to give you kind of like 2 or 3 key takeaways that I would improve upon, I would say more lighting, as we had talked about. I really like the different colors you have going here, and I want to see more of that lighting effect and those options. Doubling down on some of your like structural features that I mean, like this is one I really like. The use of the scaffold as well. Keep going with it. Have fun with those. The structural pieces over here as well. You're having fun with it, but keep pushing it. I want to see more and more of these balconies. As you said, this is only 10% of the whole thing. So I'm impressed, and I want to see more of all of that. See it at the next level. You've got me excited for a revisit at some point, because I can only imagine if that's 10%. Are you like all the way over to the starting area, all the way over here? Like, where are you even going with this thing? It's gonna be complete chaos. Or if you're going all the way up there, I didn't even notice that either. It could go everywhere. So very well done. Very, very well done. And that was Astro Lizard. I want to thank you once again for letting me review your base. Very, very well done on this one. Very fun, cool, interesting designs. Again, you keep building like this, people are going to want to see more of it and see the rest of the 90% that you have planned out. So very, very well done on that. Yeah. So, anyone in chat? I'll catch up on chat while we're just chilling here for a few. Anyone have any specifics they want to talk about? Astra, anything you want to add to it? This is where we can open it up for feedback or anything as well. Get some ideas. See, I'm reading through the chat right now, so I will get in there. Ludarav already stealing ideas, of course. Welcome in, Uzin. Thank you for the 9 months there. Well, we were doing that. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing good. Welcome in, Luke's. All right. Support is always a goal for sure. Yeah, I like that. Where do you get inspiration from this build? Yeah, I want to hear some of that. What do you have to say? Solar punk artworks, maybe. Interesting. Not even sure what I would consider solar punk artwork. It's very interesting. What's up, Karate? Welcome in, by the way. Hope you're doing good. Multiples. Yeah, Brochacho, I just love the multiple sections and not one looked like the other. Yeah, like, definitely enjoy that you've just taken creative freedom and not felt like you have to stick with one really repetitive design. That's something that I find myself falling into the trap of I've created an interesting element and I just want to keep repeating it because that's the easy thing to do. But oftentimes you get so much more interesting, unique bases when you just kind of let them freeform and grow into whatever happens in the moment. The lighting is improved on the current build. My game is crashing because of it. Yeah, that does that happens. I broke the dev stream at one point when I was on Casually Grounded with my world because of all the lights. So I definitely understand that. You can only go so far. You don't know how you would improve this, Sonali. I'm def stealing some ideas. Love it. That's honestly what I would say. The only thing you can really improve is just keep going, keep building, keep having fun with it. Add in interesting areas, more armor, more weapon showcases, more bug showcase areas. You can I always try to think of things that I can do is what other areas in a base can I add, because it's really easy. I need crafting, I need storage, the two easy things. I need a place to sleep, but then it's like, how can you showcase the other items in the game if you need more spaces that you want to build? That can be a really good way to do it, and just say, what are the items in the game that I haven't showed off? I've made a museum, a bug museum, an artwork museum, an armory. You can have a lot of fun with it. Yeah, the tiki bars upstairs that you've got going on and are working on are really interesting. Adding more of those kind of things. You can do different levels of museums. I could see some insane vertically built museum system built in one of these areas. Like, there's a lot of potential of the way you're building this thing, so very well done. It's like Cyberpunk, but more optimistic and green and natural cities. Okay, I like that. I can kind of see that now. I think I'm understanding what you're saying on that. I like it. Build a dome to cover it. Yes, tiki bars. Yeah, man. Well, very, very, very well done. Appreciate you letting us check it out, give it a review. I hope everyone really enjoyed this one. Very, very well done. And a great way to get the night started. That is for sure. There are parkour towers now. Well, now I don't want to come anywhere near it because I'm just going to fall to my death over and over and over again. Lost Boys from the movie Hook. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, the tiki bar with the new tiki stuff is also very well done. All right. So now we are going to hop in to Ronin Bear's world. Looks like they are all done. So I'm going to hide my screen once again. And make a standard copy of this. Ooh. Okay. I'm on his buggy. All right. I'm in the world. Uh-oh. Okay. Thought my game was trying to crash on me. There we go. So, some notes that Ronin had said. Part of this base is set up for future updates and what they want to add. So that's going to be interesting. Also going to be updating things with new decorations. And it's also built up off the ground to future-proof it when they mess with the terrain, because this is built in an area that is very likely to get adjusted at some point. So I like that. Okay. Very cool. Yes, I am reading through them, Bear. Brochacho, you like the sound of parkour towers? I'm horrified. I'm horrified of these towers. Okay. Are you ready, Bear? Mr. TimberBuilds cribs. It's very true. It does feel like that. Yeah, and after we, a little side note, after we start kind of getting through a decent amount of the community, when we maybe start running out of bases to review for new ones, definitely happy to kind of head back and revisit people's places, and we can kind of do updated ones and how they change things. We could do some before and after stuff, which could be really interesting. So I have not showed your base, Luke. Yours... Wait, which one was yours? What's your world called? Trying to remember who's who. Everyone's got different names, so it's hard to follow. What's your world called, Luke? Trying to remember. What's your name on Discord? Thought I had it written down. I remember writing down your name, but then I didn't make a note of which one it was. Are you arrow to the knee? Is that what it is? Maybe? Nothing? Something? I had it on a piece of paper and I think I threw it away. But all we have shown so far is Astro Lizards, so no worries, you're not missing anything. Okay, wait a second. Let me refresh something real fast. My Twitch actually shows what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. Oops. Trying to get my everything set up the way I want it. Sorry about that. All right. Next up, we have Ronin Bear's base. This one is located near the edge of the map, which is one of the more kind of unique locations that I've seen so far. Definitely going to be interesting to see how this base transforms, and as Bear had mentioned specifically, a lot of this is built specifically the way it's built to try to future-proof it. Because very likely that stuff around these edges is going to get changed and adjusted at some point, at least the terrain, the different pieces that are in these areas. So it'll be really interesting to see how this can evolve over time, because it could make your life more difficult, or it could make your base 1,000 times better. That's going to be a very interesting one. Uh-oh. It's night, as always. But this is the base so far. We'll make a day. But immediately, dude, it's massive. Holy cow. You're ready for the updates. Like, you've gone ham. You're so ready for many, many updates to come. Which I love to see. You're prepared. You're thinking about how this base is going to work with the rest of the game as things continue to get added and adjusted, which is very cool. Hoping I can find a bed, because I meant to make it day before and I didn't. But there's so many rooms. Where am I? Holy cow. Everyone's going to try to make me get lost in these spaces tonight, I think is what's going to happen. Love the little entertainment room. Like, what? Where are we? It goes everywhere. Don't see the fog? Interesting. Not sure what that one is. I love your entrance so far, though. I love that you built a platform. You've created actual armaments to protect the base from any raids as well. Like, you've really thought about how you're going to defend this base and how it's going to change and adjust over time. So very well done. Fun little concepts. And I love the structure that you've built here to hold this massive base up off the ground. Is very well done as well. I do actually like it at night, so I don't know, maybe we keep it night. Got easy access to everything. Again, you're doing similar things to what I was doing, building larger staircases so you can use your buggies inside the bases, which is really smart. So well done thinking about those different things. Is this separate? It is. I love your use of all the different materials as well. You're doing, like, very well done on that, man. The use of curved walls, straight walls, you're using both sides of the pine walls, you're using grass floors for different textures, you've got different floors with different window textures. Like, you're having a lot of fun with the materials in the game, which I'm always a big fan of. Love the little museum. Very well done. Definitely fun. Love the little spots for all the different bugs and the head mounts and stuff. How you've created a little like exhibit out of it. Very cool. Like that as well. And obviously room for more. You got all of them. You have space for everything. One thing I noticed immediately when I was walking around is your lighting effect on these palisade walls looks amazing. It's really nice indirect light, which I think can be difficult. It's really easy to just put lights on everything. But these design decisions where you're placing the lights inside of these to give them sort of a glowing effect is really, really well done. I'm probably going to be stealing some of these because I really like the way these light up. They almost look like lights themselves. They don't look like a wall with a light behind it. So very well done. I want to make sure I'm not missing any little entrances or exits or anything. It's early access, but I want out. I'm not supposed to go out. That's why it's closed. Just act like we didn't go in here. Put that back there. Go back down. All right. No, I love the museum. You've given yourself more room to mess with as well as more and more bugs get. You've left open spaces for them. It's definitely really difficult to plan this early in early access as well for things like museums because we have literally no idea how many bugs are going to get added throughout the early access period. So you've definitely done a really good job on that. And the palisades, for people who are wondering, it's just lights. Also good to know, if you don't use the sap sconces, that's a really good little use for the lamps. He put floors to place them, so they're at the specific heights that they wanted. Very well done. Looks very nice. It's a very clean lighting effect that I think, at least in my specific experience, I find that this like backlighting effect often is brighter as well for people who are struggling with trying to get lighting to work in their game to feel like it's having the effect. This is not that many lights that are used in here, and it feels like it's really, really well lit. But you've done a very good job on that. I'm guessing this is where some of the future growth, as we go all the way to the current border in early access, which is fun. Very interested to see how that goes. Let's go back towards the front. Try not to skip anything. Love the little porch designs. The fact that you're adding in some of the other materials to break up these larger walls is really well done as well. If we didn't see it when we first came in, an entertainment room. You got the whole tiered sofas and everything. Like, love it with the carpet underneath. It's the little details. It really is the little details that bring builds to life. Got your access stairs going up to the other levels. I'm already getting lost in all of this. What's up there? Done a great job just forcing me to run around in circles and want to see everything. That means it's well done. Love these. And very similar to the first review, just having fun with the balconies and the different things is very well done. So I appreciate the effort put into the fun spaces that they're not necessarily built specifically to do anything, but they are well executed. And see, just when you want to sit down in a place and just like drink a cup of coffee because it looks cool, that's how you know you're designing well. How do I get over there? Do I have to jump? I'm cheating because I couldn't find the stairs. Oh, they were right there. Love the little use of the stairs in the different levels. Very cool. Very efficient use of this of a really small space to make it very functional, but easy to use. Especially with the hot deposit system. Like, you don't really have to put a ton of effort into making your chests super accessible, so I like that you kind of hid them away just a little bit. Oh, I didn't even notice that this was a 2-tiered space. I love this. These are fun little designs that really break up some of the bigger builds, is where you break these rooms up into different pieces and you can see from one location into another location. Are always fun little design things that I really enjoy. And you have so many ways to get up and down and around. Flow feels very, very fun. Excuse me, sir.
Looks good on me.
I need in here. And the ant is freezing my game. They were good. Oh, we can make a day. Perfect. Now we can see it. We've seen some of the fun lighting effects. Now we can explore it during the day as well. Or I can sleep on top of your ant, apparently. Wait a second. Dude. I love your custom windows. Very well done. Honestly, I'd never even thought of using the palisades in between the stem half walls, so that's really cool. Creates a really nice window. That I always feel like the windows in the game are too small, so it's a really fun little detail to make a larger window. Very well done. Your room, again, with more of the chests. That's horrifying. More of your chest storage on the second floor, like that you kind of are using some of those repetitive pieces like that in a very good way. So putting your base is looking very functional, but you're also making it in a way that the function doesn't necessarily have to be like right in your face, where it's a huge piece of the design. So I really like that. Like multiple bedrooms for all your friends. Everyone has their own storage space, which is really cool. And you're, I'm assuming this is like a beanbag chair out here. Love that. It's a good use for that. I've been trying to figure out what I want to do with this, the landing pad as a design piece, and that's a good way to mess with it. Got more stairs. I need to look at the artwork more. I haven't even done most of that. Whoa. I was not expecting a mushroom farm inside the base. What? This is really cool. It's such a, like, whimsical forest feel for some reason. It's just your farm plots, but I love that it just feels like this, like, whimsical little forest inside your base. Like the light showing through on from the ceilings and stuff looks really cool, intentional or not. Love that. I'm worried I'm gonna miss things. There's just so many spaces. Okay, you got your functional water catchers and everything. If anyone's curious, these are great little designs to fill up your water catchers automatically. This one actually looks really nice too. Mine were not that pretty when I was messing with that. You have enough water to survive the apocalypse. Oh, and you have a room for each one of the teens. That's awesome. That's a fun way to do it. And it makes total sense. What is... Let's see what these roofs are doing. Is that just to make the space bigger? Oh, you've just used those as a fun design piece. Nice. I like that you little design thing. Not that this is shown on the inside of the base, but the fact that you've used the different roof material as a way to break up like larger walls and increase or decrease the size inside. I missed Max's room? Uh-oh. Will I find it? I don't know. As Max? Oh, yes, we did. I did not see this one. Dude, what a bed. Honestly. Everyone, here's your new bed design. Who needs pedal beds from Grounded 1 when you can have your own little tiki bed? That's an awesome little design piece, dude. A little desk setup. Another great little design piece here with your chair. Using the grass side table is sort of like an IKEA hack. Very well done. I do appreciate that the Max's is the biggest because Max is the bestest. I'm assuming more functional space. This must be your room. Awesome. This is very well done. Each little space for the different armor sets. Chest for storage, the weapons and all that. Love this little space. With, like, the differences you've done between these to make them stand out a little more too. Very well done. Okay, we gotta go upstairs more. It just keeps going, guys. Just keeps going. I like your little, like, external staircase as well. Very much a fun little way to mess with that and to get up and down from your base. Is this a swimming pool right now? Is that literally what I'm looking at? This is a rooftop swimming pool and basketball court. So, Bear, did you make a hotel, dude? This is insane. The fact that I immediately recognize this as a pool is hilarious. With 2 different, like, height diving boards. Oh, you're having fun with it, man. We dive in. Dive in. In the basketball court as well, on the roof. Talk about a rough day if your basketball falls off the edge of this court, though. That's a long fall. I suck at basketball, so I would very easily throw my basketball straight off this roof and be chasing it constantly. But very well done. Oh no. Your buggy is stuck for good. It's our base that has a lot of room for growth, but it doesn't feel like it's just empty waiting for things to be built, which I think is really interesting. It's really easy to build these big bases and just leave empty spaces, whereas you've hit a good happy medium between allowing room for growth while also adding enough detail that every part of it is already interesting. And then we have the storage area. I am stealing your column idea 100%. I saw this immediately when I came into the base and was obsessed. I love the way you had the lighting on the other spaces on the inside of the other exterior building, but I love this detail. Really, really like the entrance of this space. This is, like, really fun. I might just take this entrance and move it into my base because it looks really cool. And again, in terms of functionality, like, you've done it. It's super functional. You got all your storage right here. Tons of space for it. Really cool little building, though. Love that you're having fun with the different triangular pieces and stuff. Even, like, these little details for your support look really good. You've got so many. I mean, if you're not looking around at every single thing in this base, it's really easy to miss the miniature details that you've got. Just the fact that some exterior lighting effects, just a window with some light behind it, really cool little details, honestly. Definitely a fan of the detailing work that you've done on this, because it's a challenge. It's a really big challenge to add detail to huge bases. No one wants to put hundreds of hours into work, into building a massive base like this and then feel like it's boring or anything, or that it doesn't have enough detail. And it has enough detail. It feels like it's interesting, similar to the first base review. Pulls me into every single location. That can be really hard to do, where it's not just another stair that goes off. I see a little piece of a room and I immediately want to run straight into it and check it out. So definitely a big fan of how you've been messing with the design and having a lot of fun with it. And also, if people don't know, they specifically yourself to hopefully not be affected by it by raising everything up, and you've done it in a way that feels like it's done interestingly. It's not big enough, and it is a basement as well, as you say. Becomes huge storage locations for the future, because if you're only getting started and you're going to keep adding to this base, you're going to need more storage. It is possible. It's a little laggy in these bigger worlds with all the extra pieces and stuff at the moment. So if it's a little laggy on stream, bear with me. Yes, I do believe we saw the storage room as well. But yeah, very well done, Bear. Very, very well done. Ah, yeah, we did miss this, actually. No. Fun little storage room. Holy cow. You have a lot of stuff placed into a really small space. For anyone looking to fit more chests in a small area, this is a very good way to do it. I don't think you're going to run out of room. Very well done. Definitely a fan, Bear. Very, very, very well done. It's a very cool base. So, if we're looking at this, first impressions, I gotta say, I love that your base is sort of unassuming on the outside, where I like these massive columns and pillars as interesting design pieces. You've designed a lot of interesting little things that you see from the outside. But it's not like so over the top that you've spent hundreds of hours just placing random things that don't do anything. Like, it's all very functional, but it immediately draws me into it. So your first impressions wise, you've done a very, very good job. And I could easily give you a 5 out of 5 on that, especially because as soon as you get into the base, it's just room after room with interesting designs, interesting little spaces. I love the way you've kind of created a massive like hotel structure, but then it's like transforming into a city with like exterior buildings that are separate with the museum and the storage room. You can kind of go all over the place with it. So very well done on that aspect. The layout and flow, easily another 5. Super fun. I love the different staircases and how you're like walking through this sort of like hotel almost at the same, like it has the exterior staircase like a lot of hotels have, just a simple way to get up and down, but there's also stairs in every different section of the base that take you to the different places. You've utilized the exterior balconies, which are fun for the flow. They also make the outside look really interesting, whereas you've also used the roof spaces to do some really fun, interesting pieces. I would never in a million years have expected to come to the top of this base and see a pool and a basketball court. Like, super creative and fun. So very well done on the layout and flow, the structure and realism aspect. You're having a lot of fun with the structure of this base. I love the like massive columns where you've built this huge platform to build on, and it isn't just let me just build it down and not make it an interesting part of the base. You really embraced the structural pieces of this build, which I really like. And also in terms of fun little design pieces where you're adding in some of these, like the roof, where on the inside it's just a flat wall, but it gives you this detail on the outside that kind of that push and pull of interior and exterior spaces is always really cool. And that's something as an architect I'm always drawn to. Of it's no one wants just a box that goes straight to the top. So it's fun that things go in and out. You're messing with them. You're using the roof pieces as structure to like expand the upper portion and add more space to the build. So very well done on those aspects. The design and aesthetics, again, 5 out of 5 all day. All your little spaces in this base are immaculately designed. They all have, I can't think of a single room that I walked into that didn't have some little design piece that I don't want to steal and add to my base. In terms of the Max's room with the fun little bed design, the unique window designs, the unique pillar designs, lighting effects. Like you've really gone above and beyond on the aesthetics and the design of all the little different spaces, and how it's one big building, but it's also many little buildings at the same time. So it creates a really interesting design, and I'm really excited to see kind of where the rest of this goes, because I think there's a lot of opportunity with what you're doing here. The functionality of it, I mean, obviously all of your chest rooms, all of your storage spaces, the bedrooms for each individual character. So if you have friends come on or people that you end up playing with, like, it's all really functional. Your museum, again, very well designed. You're not only thinking about now what's in the game, but you're also thinking about where is it all going to go? What can I add to? which is going to let you build and build and build and not feel like every update you have to like throw it out the window and start over. So very well done on that. Again, functionality of your storage spaces. You've made functional storage spaces that are aesthetically pleasing, which is a really fun way to do it and mess with those. So I'm a big fan of those. And you've also made spaces like the bedrooms that have no function somehow have function in your base, where each room feels like an actual bedroom, which in my mind is a function of a bedroom. So the fact that it feels like it works, and the design overall is, I don't know, I'm going to call it a hotel, and that you've fully embraced the hotel by adding in hotel-like pieces where there's different room designs, there's lots of amenity spaces, there's museums, like the whole like aesthetic and function all kind of like meld into one. So easily a 5 out of 5 on the functionality. We're going to talk creativity and theming. As I just said, 5 out of 5. The theming is fun. The hotel aspect of the build, where it's all these different players, you're kind of embracing the different pieces that we have to work with in the game, where you could make these generic kind of empty hotel rooms, but you decided to give each playable character in the game their own space, which I think is really fun. And they're not replicated exactly the same. They all are their very own design, which is really cool. And in terms of improvements, tough to give you improvements. I think the main things that I would say you could focus on is more of your lighting effects. Now, I know you've got a lot to go. You have some aspects of this base that I feel like really, really hit the nail on the head with the lighting effects in terms of the columns that you've made. The museum does a really good job. The like whimsical forest inside your base, the lighting looks really cool. But maybe start bringing some of those lighting elements to the outside of the base is I think what's currently missing a little bit. There's some lighting on the outside, but like I want to see light, like a shaft of lights in these columns, and so the columns like glow at night. I think that would be really interesting aspect, and then it really would draw kind of attention to some of these like larger design decisions that you've made. I know I'm kind of a broken record when it comes to saying lighting is important, but when you make big design decisions, like putting a massive platform on these colonnades, it sort of wants you to fully commit to that concept. So adding some lights to really draw your attention to them could be a really interesting way of doing that. You've done a great job messing with the materiality of everything. I think you're using kind of every different type of build piece between roofs and stem walls, pine walls, grass. You have the different levels here where like grass just becomes an accent piece, which is really cool. So you've done a really good job messing with the materiality of it all. So the only things I could really say are, one, don't stop, because it's incredible so far. You've done a great job and all. I really would just want to see more of this build. I want to see how far you can push this and take this for your different areas, because as you had said, this is still a major work in progress that you want to keep pushing as the updates come out. You've got spaces kind of started for those as well. So I'm very interested to see how this all kind of expands and just keeps going, because you've kind of messed with it all. You're having fun with it. So again, very, very well done. And yeah, just keep going. It's a really cool base. It's a lot of fun. Very unique in many ways. And I guarantee you there are some builders chomping at the bit to use some of these interesting little design details that you have going on. Every time I fly around, I see some other just small detail that I want to use. Adding in pathways to differentiate things. It's just, yeah, very well done. Oh, and I love your turrets as well. For people that want base defense to be part of their design. A very fun way to do it. Yeah, so just keep pushing, plugging along, and I would be excited to see as the future updates come out how you change it and where it goes from here. But I will open it up to the chat, see if we have any things people would like to say. Again, sorry for missing people's comments while we are doing the review itself, but I'm trying to keep them a little more concise overall. Is it bad that one of the parts of my base is supporting 55? A little bit ducky, but it's not horrible. Yeah, everyone loving the designs of this one, man. Very well done. Sorry if things were cutting off. Hopefully that all ended up well. I missed the jerky rack room. Where the heck is that? Yeah, this base is big enough that it is actually making me lag a little bit, so I know it's a little choppy. Jerky rack. But how? I don't see how we get to it. Am I blind? Small room to the right. Oh, there's a door there. Dude. Blends right in. Like a fireplace. Little space. Fun. I'm amazed. That blends in like it was not even there. Very well done. I still don't see a jerky room though. Somewhere around here. Wait, we missed a whole basement. Holy cow, dude. We'll toss these in at the last second. Because I totally missed these. Oh, my torch died. Nice, man. Oh, there's the door. Okay. Holy cow, bro. Very well done. Love it. We'll toss that in at the end of the video so everyone sees it. That's a fun little space. So much random usable space in here, which is going to be great for the updates as we get more and more stuff. You got like a maze of stuff in here though. And even more functionality as well. Very well done, Bear. Appreciate you letting us take a look at it and explore, show it off to the community. Gotta say, just keep going. You're doing great. It's a really fun build. Sounds good, Lude. Appreciate it. Welcome in, Roy. Well, anyone else that I missed while we were doing that? Hopefully it didn't sound too horrible with the lag, but that's sort of the struggle of reviewing really big bases. The game isn't quite optimized for everyone at this moment. I'll be able to stay and watch, but I hope your stream has been going great and it keeps that up. Sounds good. Thank you, Sirius. Hope you're having a great night, man. I didn't miss you too long ago before you joined. What's up, Ray's back? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, everyone, big fans. Missed 3 spaces. Yeah, you got them hidden really well, honestly. Welcome in, Jabberwocky. Hope you're doing good. Like the lights idea for color, the Billy Hog neon makes you want to. Yeah, there's something about light, man. Just like, lighting brings every build to life. Like, I don't ever feel like my base is finished until I really get the lighting effects right. That's when it really makes it crazy. Make a zipline tower when you get ziplines. Yes, I could see this very, very easily adding a cool zipline tower to this. Even like messing with some of this, like the circular zipline towers would be interesting. Yeah, the turrets on the wall reminds me of Attack on Titan, definitely. Well, very, very well done, Bear. Again, that was Ronin Bear. Thank you again for letting us view your base, and incredible job. Yes, the kitchen. I love Bear. I loved everything. There's not a single part of that base that I didn't love. Very well done. All right. So, Luke Luke's Gaming or Arrow to the Knee? Sorry, let's get it right. This is a Skyrim reference. Arrow to the Knee. Big difference there. Is who we're going to be reviewing real fast. This one, yeah. Okay. I'm going to turn off the camera real fast so we can do our little intro and surprise everyone. See if I can remember this. Okay. This is another fun one. Location, location, location. I think you guys are going to like the commitment to this base, because this is not a build for the faint of heart. This is not an easy base location to build in, so I'm pretty impressed already. I do believe I missed a follow earlier, didn't I? Maybe, maybe not. String Bean, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. I knew I missed something. Okay. So, next up, we have Arrow to the Knee. Let's see what they have created and put it through a little base review. So, location-wise, we're on the podium. We're not in the podium. We are on the podium. This build, commitment at its finest. To get the materials that you need to build the base we're about to look at is insane. I might have to like knock you on the location, just because without the handy net, I wouldn't even want to touch this base idea. I thought that would be a cool place to build on top of the podium, but in what universe am I bringing sticks and grass up to the top of the podium for the entire build? That to me seemed ridiculous, and you said you wish bet. And you built a massive base. Not only did you build a massive base, but you've got bridges going all the way to the statue. You've got stairs that go all the way to the bottom of the base. I mean, commitment. These aren't just stairs. These are like well-made stairs. You got the whole top of the podium made. Very, very cool base location. Love the creativity and the willingness to build up here is honestly slightly insane, and that's why we're doing base reviews, because it doesn't matter what you build at the top of this. This is not an easy base to build, no matter what you do. And you haven't just built a little base on top. This is pretty massive and very well done so far. Immediately love the storage. You've got so many different like pathways and balconies and stuff. Is very cool. Got all of the buggy mounts, a huge space for them, which feels really interesting. You didn't just stick to just the little bit of the podium that was showing. You built outwards as well, so you have room to expand. I want to know, do you run up these stairs every time? Where's the bounce elevator? That's what I want to know. How do you get up those stairs every time you want to go somewhere? And where's the bounce pad or the landing pad to get me down? Because I want to jump on it at some point. Even though, knowing me, I will epically fail and totally miss it. But you got the upper part of the podium here for your target your target area and training spaces. You got the basketball hoops. You even have your own little shooting range. Super creative and fun way to mess with that. Yes, this is an orc butterfly over here as well. Just doing its thing. It sure sounds like one. Funny. I actually really enjoy that all your functional space is outside. It's not in the base, it's just open air, which I think is really cool. It really does work. Especially with like this podium base. It feels cool to be this high up on the map and not be trapped in a little house or anything. So I like that you took the time to like line everything up really well and fit the space properly, even though like the podium is not perfectly built and symmetrical. You found a way to kind of like add it into the pre-built spaces in like utilizing, even though you have stairs and stuff, like the fact that you've built these in as like side structures is really cool. And those are some of my favorite things to do, is find interesting things built into the world and how I can incorporate them into my base. And things like this add a detail that you can't get any other way. So it's a really fun way to kind of add details that, unless you're building here, you could never have any like angled wood piece like this on your build. So it's a fun little way to design it and mess with it. And functionally, everything's here. It works. You got all your chests. You got all your storage spaces. Just like really, really simple and easy. So I really like the way you've messed with that. And as everyone in chat is saying, the sticks and grass are blowing my mind right now. I still can't get over the fact that you've built this high up. Just the stairs alone are a huge commitment, let alone building this massive base. Very nice. Feels so cozy. I've never really thought of using the roof pieces as floor. I've seen now 2 or 3 people that have used the thatch roofing as a floor, and it offers a really cozy vibe. It's a unique flooring material to use, but it adds a nice detail. It almost kind of feels more like carpet. Whereas like if you were trying to use the mite rugs and stuff as carpet, you'd need to kill every mite in grounded ever made. And you probably still wouldn't have enough mite fuzz to make a carpet. So I really like that you sort of messed with the flooring material to get something different. Because it's a very different feel than using like a stem flooring or a grass flooring piece. Especially because it actually fills the gaps better. So it feels more of a solid floor, which is a fun little detail. I'm interested where all these, as you continue building, what you're going to use for all these spaces. Because I couldn't really tell this from the shape of this build, but I'm having fun with it. And there's a lot of potential in these like big open rooms for all the future things that are going to be added as well. Nice. Great little bedroom spaces. Again, it feels very homey. Even though it's a really big open space in these areas, it feels very homey because of I think it's just the flooring, honestly. And then adding in the fun functional spaces. As always, I can't help myself. How could you not jump on this, you know? How could you I can't stop myself. I have to do it every time I see these chairs. I think we can go up. No? Can we? I want to go higher. I want on the roof. Might have to park Oroware up there. Or... No, he's gonna make me parkour it. I want to see the whole thing. We need the whole view. Oop. So are the turrets just for decoration, or do you plan on using them? So I don't dislike the way they kind of break the roof up, though. Kind of add a different detail that you wouldn't normally see. So that's another little thing. It's easy to overlook the little things, like just putting decoration pieces on large buildable areas that I really like. Can I make that? Yeah. I don't know what that was for, but I had to do it when I saw it. I think we hit all the spaces. Let's just double check and make sure there's nothing like downstairs. So I missed quite a few on the last tour that I don't want to overlook. But yeah, loving the homeliness of the design overall. There's something just feels nice about it. Well, let me know if I missed anything else there, Arrow. I don't think so. but there's a lot of stuff going on. Just want to see what's underneath. Whoa. Yeah, very cool. You can even see like being able to utilize some of this underneath space as well as the game continues to be added to. And then you can also, I mean, you've given yourself with the staircase effort that you've put in as well, like the ability to like come in and start building in some of these more random spaces that you maybe wouldn't typically build in. Now you've done the hard work, so now you can start building in some of these locations as well, which is very cool. This is built-in survival as far as I know. For everyone wondering. I think Arrow to the Knee just is committed. Just a lot of gathering, but I mean at the end of the day, it's worth the effort if you want to. Very well done though. Very cool base so far. Yeah, so in terms of the grading, first impressions, easy 6 out of 5. The fact that you were willing to build up here is serious effort. It's a difficult base location. It's got really interesting like limitations to it in terms of the space. So very, very, a lot of commitment. I appreciate the effort as someone who likes to build crazy, insane things as well. To push it to this level, because you gotta want it. You gotta have a vision and you want to go for it to want to build in these kind of locations. In terms of the layout and flow, I can give you a 4 out of 5. I think it could be pushed maybe just a tad further. I really do like that you have these interior spaces and exterior spaces. It's not just putting everything in a big box and dividing up the rooms, where you've had a lot of fun with the whole thing in terms of how you traverse each individual location. How do you get to the back of the podium? How do you get up the base? Like, you've had fun with all of that, so I definitely like the way the direction you're headed in currently. The structure and realism side of it on this base maybe doesn't want to fit, because you decided to pick a location that isn't realistic and is just fun for the sake of being fun. And you're telling me to look at it at night, which we can do. If the lights show up. Yeah, a little bit. Definitely think that it's fun. It's just a fun base. I don't know what else to say about the structural side of it, because it works. It's just fun. It's not always about these grading metrics that I've sort of thrown in here aren't necessarily meant to fit everyone's base, because not everything is meant to be structural and real, but it's something we focus on, I guess, just because it's on the list. But I think you've had a lot of fun with the different systems in terms of ways to traverse through this base and just have fun with it at the end of the day. The design and aesthetics, I'm going to give you 4 out of 5 on that. I think I really, really am drawn to the exterior space here, which I think you've designed really well. I think the interior spaces also feel really interesting and well designed. Of course, as you're still working on this, you can always add more decor items, and as more decor items and stuff get added, I think very cool. There'll be very, very fun little things to add as you get more pieces. Of course, it's kind of, you're stuck with what we have at the moment, but at the end of the day, it is very interesting and unique in terms of just the location in general. Having fun with it. The use of the different spaces is very well done. Functionality, very functional at the end of the day. Another 5 on that one. You have all of your stuff nice and compact, right in one area. You can get everything. The only thing I didn't really see was, it sounds like you are building this one in creative as well, so you don't need the stem storage and stuff, but something that's worth thinking about since you have the storage for all the chests and all the other areas. It wouldn't hurt to add in some of those other storage type pieces, because they're fun details. It doesn't hurt to add storage rooms if you have extra space. Could be a cool, fun thing to do with some of this lower area that isn't necessarily being used at the moment, or just some of the more empty spaces that you have, or building out some of these spaces to add more details to could be really interesting. The creativity, 5 out of 5. This is the first base that I've personally seen on the podium. I'm sure other people have had some fun and built up here, but it's unique in its own way. It's creative, wanting to build a base on something that's not necessarily where I don't think the devs probably planned for anyone to build up on top of this. So it's a fun thing to see, just a massive like structure on top of this podium. So I'm definitely a fan of your decision to build the base here in the first place as well. And then improvements. I definitely think we could push the lighting further. That's similar to the other bases as well. I think although the lighting is there and it works, it could be utilized on the outside a little bit more, just to add a little bit more draw of attention, similar to the way like Bear had done some of the exterior like pillars or columns in different ways. It doesn't have to necessarily be with palisades, but I could see maybe some structural looking pieces getting added into these locations up on these different levels to kind of break up some of these bigger walls. Is, I guess, the other thing I'll say in terms of detailing wise. I think I really like the outside of that space. I really like the insides of these spaces, especially as you add more and more detail to them. But the exterior of the building as a whole, I think you could push this a little bit further, just adding in random details, whether that it could be lighting, it could be pillars and columns. I could very, very easily see, similar to like how Bear had done this effect. You'd have to, of course, maybe move some of these windows around, but depending on the different pieces that you like personally, since you've used a lot of pine and stem on this build, I think you could definitely add in maybe some more structural pieces, add to that like push and pull effect that happens on the outside of a building. Since you have so much room on the exterior of this base, I feel like it's kind of the perfect place to sort of start messing with the idea of kind of double thick walls. Not necessarily spaces that you can get into, but these can be locations where you can start adding in just a little bit more depth. I think is kind of what I want to see with some of these bigger walls. And that's the struggle of every mega build, is how do you detail to the level where it's maybe not too overly complicated, where you're just adding details to add details, because that doesn't necessarily make it better. But I think there are some ways that you could start adding in some pieces like this, where now you have two windows side by side, and then these are interesting locations where you could start doing that lighting effect that I was saying, where if maybe not all of these walls, but some of the walls or half of the walls are built in a double thick sort of design, I think you would greatly benefit from the extra detail that could add. Even if this is swap the materials around, kind of create levels to this, maybe would be an interesting one. Like the window levels could be just a slightly, oops, why'd you do that? Just a way to break up the bigger walls. That's my only kind of constructive criticism I see on the exterior of the building itself, is that it is a little repetitive with big long walls. I do like that you stepped these areas in, but oftentimes if you switch the material on one of these, so your out kind of outer walls that stick out further than this inner piece or this inner wall system, if these start to become different materials, and this is always to your discretion what you like, but that really helps pop the decision that you made to purposefully drop this back one wall. This kind of something along the lines of adding little details like this will really help add that depth, because I personally am a really big fan of depth in my builds. So using walls that are too thick, meaning 2 pieces thick, or if there's a quarter or a vertical wall in between them, it really starts adding depth and kind of detail in spaces where things can maybe be not quite as detailed. And so those are just quick comments that I would make on the exterior, even if it's just you've already started messing with the ladders. Now, they don't necessarily work amazingly well with the current window layout that you have, but just attaching things to the outside of the base in general can start to add just enough detail to break up these larger walls. And it's kind of whatever you see fit at the end of the day in terms of what you like. Is it pine? Is it a stem material? You could build stem walls because they have sort of slits in them, and you could backlight the stem walls is another option. Very similar to kind of what we were messing with here. Even if could be the half walls, you could use palisade walls. I'm a really big fan currently of the way palisade walls look with the pine walls. And the lighting effect that you get from putting lights within these spaces is, I think it looks really nice. Something I'm messing with, something that Ronin was messing with as well. But just something to kind of break up the bigger wall pieces, I think would take this whole build to that kind of like one step higher. Just a little bit more detail. And you're good, because you've got the basics down, really, and now it's just, especially when you're just building this for fun, and it's an enjoyable process, just adding more and more detail to all of it. And luckily you've got enough symmetry here that as you figure out one detail, you just get to kind of copy it around, and it really will like liven up this exterior wall of the build. That's my architectural designer speaking specifically, is how do you make flat walls not feel flat? And you add detail to something that is just a wall. How do you make it more interesting than what it actually is? But yeah, very well done. Again, arrow to the knee. Appreciate you letting us look at this. Also, Luke's Gaming is their other name as well. Again, thank you for letting us view this base. Very well done, and I'm very excited to see kind of where this heads. And you should definitely keep us updated in the Discord as well. It's very interesting. Very well done. And super fun base location as well. If anyone in chat has comments or things they'd like to talk about, let me know. Catch up on some of these messages. Big fan of the wall pieces used as pickers. Not sure what I'm reading there. You're going to show us your base build after you show off these ones? Yeah, I could probably do that. We just have to get through all of them. We have another 5 to go. Paper Chaser, welcome in, by the way. Yeah, you could put in some more planter pieces, like some of the other bases we've seen would be really good. Yeah, and the other side of that is you could start adding, you have a perfectly made zipline base going forward as well, so you could literally go over the entire map from your location, which is also really cool. Thank you, Switcher Gaming, for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well and enjoying the base tours. We have many, many more to come. Yeah, everyone with the duping. The funny part is there's not one thing in that base that you can't dupe sticks. You know, why is everyone so stuck on this duping thing? You can't dupe sticks. You can't dupe grass. You can just dupe the items. So it's like 90% of that base couldn't be duped. And pine's so easy to get. You could get every piece of pine for that build in 30 minutes and never have to touch it again. You put lights inside of the roofing on top of the doors. Interesting. Yeah, it's hard to see a little bit. That's the other side of the bases that are in like really big like that is the loading or rendering distance is unfortunately not enough to see some of those details. Roach is jealous. You refuse to dupe anything anyways. Yeah, I couldn't care less, honestly. Hey, Grim, welcome in. Thank you for the celebration. Super jealous. Hey, Grim, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for the bits, man. The Aphid King. But yes, very well done, Luke. Very well done. It was a fun base to view. All right. Brochacho and Crimson. We have a little dual base action here. These are two builders that I was introduced to from Ludarav. So you know they've got some skills if they're they know Ludarav. What's this one? Reamer World. You're nervous? Nah. You got nothing to be nervous for. I saw a little bit of the base. It's cool. You know Brochacho from the first Grounded? Nice. I just met him now. Just this week. Thanks to Ludarav. The one and the only. The base build king. My base building buddy. Holy cow. W Luda, yes. Where you guys said there's a second base as well. Where was that one located? Can't remember. Give me a reminder on that one. Let me know so I can check that one out as well. Yeah, it didn't drop. I turn off the I turn it off before so I can do a little base reveal. Get a little fade in effect, you know. West of the picnic table. Ah, you have a trail marker for it. Okay. Perfect. You guys have all sorts of stuff marked out on this map. All right. Let's get my screen back. Reaper with the self-deprecating. You have to find an unfriendly grounded community. Yes, that is why this community in general, not just mine, but grounded overall, is some of the most supportive, happy, fun people compared to almost any other game I've ever played. Okay. So, next up we have Brochacho and Crimson. They have built this base together on their shared world. They have two bases as well that we get to show off today, which will be very fun. And if the second one's anything like the first one, I think we're going to have a great time. Oh, looked the wrong way. So, location-wise, we're at the lamppost. Not the lamppost I've built on the other side of the map, but they're on the edge one over here, which I think it's going to be really interesting as they add in some of these other locations. This could be a really cool spot to be. There's not a whole lot of people building over on this side as well, which is, I think, a fun spot. Especially, I mean, you've got all the resources, you've got all the open space for everything, so I think it's a great spot to do a build. And I personally love the the lampposts is a design in base space, so I think they're fun. And I think what's cool is that you guys have built completely inverse of what I've done, is where I'm building on the inside of the lamppost, and you guys have kind of surrounded almost the entire thing. You're not quite to the top yet, but I definitely like what you're doing here. In terms of just starting off, I love this like entry gate design piece where you've utilized the spider web bridges as like a main piece of the design. Absolutely love that. Super creative. You got your buggy barn outside, like super easy, especially if we get massive buggies at some point. I mean, think about like a mantis. Like you're gonna want massive spaces. So love that you've like literally built like a barn, I guess, for a lack of a better way to put it. Very cool little design space already. And if I've looked around, nothing quite on those yet, but I love that you've just integrated this into the design already. It's just super clever and well done already. And you got your ramps up to the top. You got the guy saluting and everything. Love it. Little Ludarav feature. You're gonna need like a pit of despair to like chuck people off. Yeah, like huge. Love the like symmetry of the base so far as well. And just you can kind of go to either side, building around the lamppost. Very fun. All the way around. I could definitely see how this could be one of those builds that's just never finished because you just keep building up and up and up. Because that's what my brain wants to do. Is I can see this just turning into like its own massive, like these become towers to a build that goes, because you can build like almost all the way to the very top of this. So I definitely like that you guys are slowly building your way up the entire thing and just adding more and more and more. You got your own little bedrooms and stuff. Nice little huts around the edges. And like you can just keep going with these, which is fun. You got like each one's just a little different. Again, lighting effects very well done. Little storage spaces as well. Got your own little chandelier going. I really like how this like purplish color for some reason. I've seen a couple builds with this purple, like really light purple. It looks really nice. I love that you're using multiple different materials as well. You're not just sticking with just pine or just stem. Yep, all the little accents and everything. Yeah, 4 bedrooms. Let's see it at night. Oh, and you use the pillows design. Love that. Such a good little design piece. I'm gonna have to start adding in some of those details for myself as well. Yeah, it looks absolutely massive when you're looking up. Oh, hello there. Hello, Spooderman. Then you got your little basketball and storage room. Nice. The balcony spaces as well to break things up. Crafting. You got like kind of your like main living level, I guess is what I would call it. Love these details. A lot of people don't ever get into the messing with the armor dummies, so I absolutely love that you guys are having fun and playing with those. That's one of the best, my favorite things about Ludarav spaces specifically is like the use of all the different armor dummies and stuff. Got it from Luda, nice. And so much room, like, to continue adding stuff too. Because you can just like build out each level as its own little like village and designed piece. Just keeps going up. And more storage spaces. And cool rooms. I like the verticality that you have with the these like curved room additions as well. Fits very nice with the whole kind of vertical climbing up the lamppost as well. So it's a very nice fit for it. Let's see. Did I miss any spaces that you wanted to show off? I think we hit everything on these levels. Unless there's stuff under the lamp or anything that I definitely don't want to miss. I love this little entrance too. It's a nice little detail for like how the stairs come up on both sides. Then, oh jeez, fall to my death. Yeah, I think that's all of this one, which I love the potential. You guys have a lot of potential to keep going. You say bounce towers will be added, just haven't got there yet. Yeah, I mean, just the material collection alone is
better find some water before I turn into
a time-consuming process in making sure all this is built so it's not just going to collapse instantly when you get raided or anything. There's a lot of materials in just the stairs alone to get up to the top of this. And the good news is this isn't it. That's this base, but we have more. They have 2 bases. I'm going to drink some water so I don't die. But yeah, I'm a big fan so far, guys. It's a very fun way to design a base to like around a massive structure. And as you get bounce towers and keep adding stuff, I could definitely see this becoming, for a lack of better words, like a wizard tower where you get like all these different kind of like spires coming off of each side of it, and just seeing like more of this as you get kind of like tapering as you go higher and higher. And like it's got a lot of potential. I know it's a time-consuming process to build a base this big, as most people's bases aren't even as big as your bug barn area. Let alone all the different stuff you have to get all the way to the top and building it all out. So it's definitely really good. It has a lot of potential as they continue adding more and more build pieces and designed pieces out. And we'll talk about improvements and design ideas as well as I continue getting through the base. But we'll sprint on over to the other one so I can show off both. And then we'll give an overall score and adjustments and improvements that we can come up with. Oh, ouch.
Not very graceful.
That was not. It was like nothing. It was like 2 feet.
How's this look?
Where'd it go?
Think I'll start a new trend?
Did I run that weevil over and kill him? Uh-oh. Yep. And I'm dead. The second I made that jump, I was like, I'm gonna die.
How's this look? Think I'll start a new trend?
Okay, we're back. I couldn't get enough of it, guys, so I had to keep going.
Let's weave! Spikes
All
can't
right,
do that.
I'm gonna be a little more careful this time. No, I don't fit. All right, we'll get off. I'm so used to driving the ant around that I always forget that the spider dies instantly if you jump. No jumping on your spiders. They have weak, brittle little ankles. But they are fast, so I'll take it. Alright, let's try to get over to the other base without dying.
Tired?
That's the interesting part. I'm pretty sure I have the, like, bounce, the super jump little glitch thing. Is it? Yeah, I think so. The ant doesn't die when you jump like that. I don't know why the spider does. More sprinting, less jumping. So I saw a guy that made his own chandelier with round grass, pillars, and candles. Interesting. I am a big fan of chandeliers. My Grounded 1 builds had a ton of chandeliers in them. Not quite as many as Ludarav, but chandeliers are awesome. They're a great way to add a ton of detail to a small area. Spiders don't fit. It's hard to design the bases around the buggies, though. It's a serious design challenge to like try to think about how these bases are going to be used with all the future improvements and additions. Because they're obviously not afraid of massive scale changes. In terms of like having Axel as a boss. Yeah, I mean, no issues. Huge doesn't mean good in terms of bases. There's always something interesting with every base design, from my experience. Even if it's just one cool little design feature that is can be a positive. Okay, so their second base location is over by the picnic table, which I already love because this is where I farm literally all of my resources, and there's so many resources in this area that it makes it a really, really good location, especially when you build this close to the picnic table. I love the little like window door frame designs as well, like creating a more epic staircase overall. Whoa. You just
Bye,
stay right
bud.
there.
Hit you up later.
Great little storage, kind of like crafting area. Very well laid out. As you said, very functional. Love the little shelf design as well. It's a nice one. I never use these enough for stuff like that, but it looks really good. Like the pile of egg storage. You got your little pathways going out, which is fun. Oh yeah, the little buggy. I love the little enclosures for the buggies. That's really well done too.
Bottled in scenic brook hollow.
These are the type of things that I think a lot of people are gonna really like be inspired by. Is how do you make something like your ant nest and spider nest into like more interesting design spaces? That's like currently one of the things I'm struggling with, is how do you design these little pieces just like this. Such simple little design decisions, but it makes your hatchery look so much better already. So I love the little additions like that. Just take it to like the next level. Your little partitioned bedrooms. Got it for everyone. Love it. And then, oh. Is this just a bounce house for fun? Nothing wrong with a little fun. I have not checked out enough of the signs in the game. I haven't noticed half the ones in the bases tonight. I love this little lighting detail as well. Great. Very fun lighting kind of design piece to get kind of lighting up in your ceilings, especially when they're a little bit taller like this one. I'm trying to see if there's lights in this as well. Hard to tell it in the day. Yeah, the lighting on the upper area looks really nice and clean. Stuck. It's a fun little location for sure too. The fact that you're like, you get access to all of these roots, you have access to tons and tons of materials. I love the lighting on the stairs as well, that you like alternate back and forth, and then kind of similar to how you're building up the lamppost for your other base. It's a really interesting place to build because you could also start building down into the root areas, which is also a really interesting place to build. But very functional, just easy, simple little base as well. I'm a fan of. I really like this location though. Like building on like with these roots and like kind of building more pathways out like this could be really interesting. And also being right next to the picnic table and having an easy way up is really good. Yeah, definitely. Great job on everything, guys. A lot of fun. I see a lot of potential as you guys have more and more time to continue adding to it. No, it's easy to look at Ludarav's stuff and be like, it's so big and it's endless. It's just time. Just takes time. Just keep building and building, and it just adds more and more to it. You guys have some really interesting little details to kind of work with as well. But yeah, if we're going to talk about the overall first impressions, the other base on the lamppost, the first impression, like, it looks epic. Like, it's so menacing and huge, like, looking up at this thing that's just, like, wrapping up this lamppost. So it's a really interesting, like, kind of jaw-dropping base just to see. I know you guys have more interior details and stuff to add as you go, but in terms of, like, potential of where I can see the builds going, like, I just see so many things that can be added onto and pushed to the next level. So I think it's a really interesting start to a lot of these bases. The layout and flow, those are all really good. I guess first impressions, 5 out of 5 easily. They're really fun. You guys have some interesting details. Same with, like, these lights as well. Just kind of like drawing your eyes in and making interesting bases and locations as well. The layout and flow, again, 4 out of 5 probably on those. I think you could probably push the detailing on the lamp base a little bit further as you have more time to build and add things. I like the way, like, you've done a very good job in, like, wrapping the base, like, symmetrically with stairs, which I think is really cool. I personally love that kind of detail of just having these, like, epic staircases becoming, like, this really cool designed piece of the base. Just because as you can see here, another situation where you've used the stairs in a really interesting, unique way to kind of create. It's not only functional in the sense that it gets you to the top of the base, but it also is like a nice designed piece. And it makes the kind of the flow or the way you navigate through the base like an intentional part of the design decision, which I'm a big fan of, because it's really easy to just build crappy staircases up to the top of something and then do nothing with them, and they always just look like staircases. So I definitely like how you've kind of incorporated them into the larger design. Structural structure and realism. Very much enjoy, again, the way the structure of the lamppost base like works. Like, it's just this massive tower thing just growing up the top of this, and so it feels like a really interesting kind of structural design, since you don't necessarily have all of the details done in there yet. The overall structure of the base makes it interesting, and you've used that as like the main design decision, which I think works really well. And I would say same here in the terms of how you've held the stairs up. It almost, like, to me, is mimicking, like, if you hadn't noticed these, like, using the pebblet foundations might seem a little weird at first, but it also starts to, like, mimic the roots and how these things are kind of, like, held up. And so it may be a smaller detail that not everyone would notice, but I really like the way that these kind of, like, tie into each other, and the structure sort of starts mimicking what's going on around it. So I think that's another nice detail that is very easily overlooked, but is done well. The design and aesthetics, I think maybe between 3 and 4 out of 5, just because you guys still have a lot of work to do in terms of the detailing of the whole base. The little details that you have in terms of, like, the lighting effects and those things, I think are really, really well done. It just wants even more of it, which is so easy for me as the third party to say, I want more. Of course, it's much easier to say than do, but the little pieces of design and detailing in terms of, like, how you've done these stairs, I want to see more of it. I want it kind of taken to that next level, just to, like, really, really start bringing it to life. Same with the other base, where it could really start using some of these details, where the barn itself on the lower area with the massive gate, as could be another thing of the structural side of it being really intentional. And it just is kind of like, as you finish those details, continue them upwards throughout both of these builds, because I think the aspects of design in the pieces that you've used are really interesting, and they just want to, like, be used everywhere and taken to another level. Functionality, everything functions, especially this base. I know you guys don't have the lamppost done, so it's hard to say, like, it is or isn't functional, because it does the things you need it to do as you're finishing the design. This base specifically, very, very functional. The spaces are small. They're tied together really well. I think a lot of people will really like these like little shelf pieces you've designed that work really, really well. And just keep pushing it. I really enjoy messing with like different materials like you guys have done as well. It's not just, we used pine, so we used it one way the whole way up. Really easy to add these like little upper details they might be overlooked by many, but they're the details that start bringing the bases to life to me personally. And then it becomes like dual function, where it makes the inside of the base look more interesting, but it also makes the outside of the base look more interesting. You love the stairs, the green and purple? Yes, exactly. The design of your functional pieces, I think, is something that a lot of builders can definitely miss out on. So taking something that's purely functional, like a set of stairs, and making it a design aesthetic choice is something that can be really difficult to do, but you guys have knocked those out of the park. The creativity and theme, I love the creativity, especially on the lamp base specifically. It's one of the more unique base locations. I've immediately thought, and I have been recommended, to build all the way up the lamppost on my build, but it's a daunting task to build all the way to the top of the lamppost, and you guys tackling that alone is that's a serious commitment to make it all happen. So I definitely like the creativity to like build this base that wraps up this really tall vertical structure. So it's a very interesting design choice, and even this is a simple functional base as you guys described it. Just the little design decisions and the little aesthetics to take pieces that most builders are just going to take this, put it on a flat surface, and it is what it is. You guys like taking the extra time to make them really feel like a designed piece of the base, I think, is a really fun way to do it. So I'm a big fan of those. And then in terms of improvements, again, we don't really give a score on this one, but if we're going to talk specifically about the lamppost base, I would say keep pushing the use of each room. I liked that you kind of had one level that felt like your housing level, I guess. Like it kind of feels like the start of like this towering village or something. Like it's a treehouse base without a treehouse in many ways. And so you can kind of think of like, all right, this level is going to be for housing, and we're going to build like almost a little village feel. And then you could start adding in things like a marketplace for another level. And then you have your functional storage locations, which is done a little bit in your barn. And then you have like storage and chests up top as well. So maybe finding a way to make like each level of that, the lamppost base specifically, kind of have its own function or tell its own story, I guess. Ludarav is a great person to draw from in that sense, where just like each place is a faction to a different bug or a different armor set, and you can kind of create these like crazy levels of design on the lamppost base specifically. And then of course just adding more detail to it. You've got the lighting effects that you've used are really effective and work really well. You guys obviously have a good understanding of lighting and how cool it can look to spice up really simple things like stairs. So I would continue pushing that from the elements you have it in into the rest of the base, because if the lamppost base looked and had the detail level that the bug barn sort of design at the bottom of the lamppost has, if you continue the amount of detail you have there, like it's going to be one of the coolest bases I've seen. So there's tons of potential as you just continue building it out and adding and adding, which it's a never-ending process at the end of the day. But I really like the way you guys already are messing with the different materials, messing with the different buildable pieces or decor items really well. Like the design aspects of it are done very well, and it just is kind of continuing that process, which is just continue building whenever you have time, because I cannot wait to see what other insanity you guys come up with, especially in the lamppost base. There's a ton of potential with that whole base in general. But yeah. Happy affiliate anniversary. Thank you, Fnatic. Appreciate that. Definitely more work to do, but the process is fun. Yeah, as long as you are enjoying the process, like I can tell from the designed pieces that you guys have that you enjoy it. It just takes a lot of time to build, of course. It's just continue adding as you go. Ducky Ludarav is just another builder that hangs out and stream a lot. He's done base tours from Grounded 1 if you ever want to see them on the channel. Yeah, and if you want to know what over-the-top detailing and storytelling is, go watch some of Ludarav's base tours on my channel, and Brochachos and See-Throughs, and maybe a couple other people's as well. Because I think, especially when you get into the really, really, really large-scale bases like some of these are, those base tours can really help inspire random ideas, like how do you design the inside of a base? What do those rooms want to be? What are the details that you can add to a bedroom versus a bar, a tiki hut, a tiki bar? All the different things. Can you drop the link to your YouTube? Yes. That is the streamer on. Bring you essentially to my channel. Yeah, happy to give you feedback, Crimson and Brochacho. Thank you again for letting me view the base, and I'm excited to see where they go because I can see the potential of the insanity that you guys have going on over there, especially with like the little details from your small functional base. Like when big crazy base becomes functional crazy base, it's going to be really, really cool. Really inspired to build. For me to build in Grounded 1 playthrough right now. I gotta do 2 soon, and we'll build crazy as well. Good, John. Welcome in, by the way. That's the goal, honestly. My whole goal with my channel and everything in general is to inspire people to build, and that's building a little bit bigger than maybe you'd be normally do, showing off people's builds, because I'm not the only good builder. There's so many ideas that I've gotten from crazy builds in the community that are really interesting. And just fun. Let's see if I respawn at the other base.
Function over fashion, Willow.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see where you guys end up taking this thing, because it feels like limitless possibilities where you can just continue adding level after level and interesting design piece. You can start, I can see like one of these here, and then a different one on this side that's maybe a little higher, and then another one that's on the other side, and then a flat level like this for totally different functions, whether it's a museum space or I envision for some reason like a marketplace on one of these, and like this thriving, bustling marketplace on this like massive floating platform structure, like built off of, instead of a tree, it's a lamppost. Like it seems like a really interesting concept. It makes me want to now build up the lamppost on the outside of mine even more than I was planning. But yeah, glad to review it, and thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it. I know it is probably out of some people's comfort zones to share their work and have someone review it and talk about it, and try to always make sure that no matter what it is, we're always staying positive and overall kind of overwhelmingly positive, because every base that I've reviewed thus far has something unique and interesting that someone in the Grounded community needs to see to inspire their build, even if it's one little room or the idea of building something bigger than they were planning on. Just a lot of it. Big fan of see-throughs. You have them on a different tab. Nice. I was talking to see-through earlier. It was a good time. We were just chatting. How do I send pics of our builds again? You can either join the Discord on YouTube. Doesn't have a command. Best way to do it is to join the TimberBuilds Discord. Okay, apparently it's not in the thing anymore. I will get it posted for you real quick. For the YouTube folks, since the commands don't work on YouTube, I don't have them set up properly, is really what it is. But on the Discord specifically, you can hop on and in the build inspirations or just the grounded tab, you can post things in there. Then if you want to do a base tour or a base review like we're currently doing, you just have to add me as a friend and send me your Xbox username, and then I can get you on the list for future. Definitely nervous, but this was def fun and can't wait to retour for when it's finished. Yeah. No, I always want to leave everyone like, because I specifically, as someone who's built a ton, like I know how long it takes to build these things, and I know it's not easy. One, to build them in general, and then on top of that, to have someone talk about them and review them and stuff. So always want to make sure everyone knows how good stuff is, even if I'm offering constructive criticism, because I definitely see all the potential and the hard work that gets put into even the smallest bases. And these are not small bases. These are pretty massive. The detail work is something that just takes massive, massive amounts of time. And we only have so much to work with as well. You go to the Discord and you should just be able to click on my name and add me as a friend. But yeah, once again, thank you Brochacho and Crimsoned. Awesome bases. I'm really excited to see what you guys do with those in the long run, because there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential with how big you guys are building those. But that just means it takes more time to detail them. All right. Well, I'm pretty sure Ludarav is asleep already, or is hanging out. But now, for those who didn't know Ludarav, the infamous Ludarav decided to build some smaller bases for us to review, because he can't currently build big bases, because he's already hit all the limits on building items, which is pretty insane to think that within the first couple days of the game being released, Ludarav hit the max item limit already, trying to build something crazy. So he's an inspiration to the channel. If you haven't checked out Ludarav's base tours from Grounded 1 on my channel, please go show them some love. They are some of the most insane builds. Ludarav does build in creative, but because of that, he's built some of the most interesting, like intricate, crazy designs that anyone in Grounded has built. Honestly, his worlds are massive, and so it's going to be absolutely ridiculous to see what he comes up with when he's able to build more. All right, but as I said, next up we have Ludarav, an amazing builder who went out of his way to build some small fun stuff just to inspire everyone. These are some creative builds that he did just for fun on the side, but he wanted to show off some of the techniques that he's come up with and some ideas he's had, just for fun, to fill in the gap and help with filling up base tours and base reviews for the Tuesday nights. So definitely make sure to check out, if you haven't, a little plug here for Ludarav on my channel specifically. His builds are insane. Check out his Grounded 1 base tours, because we're going to be doing Grounded 2 base tours when he can build more. But as I said, he's hit the build limit already in Grounded 2 with the current updates, and so he's just having some fun with some little smaller designs just for us to take a look at and show off how crazy he is at building, because his stuff's insane. But yeah, these are built on the log platforms next to the picnic table and the lamp. Hello. Got a wonderful little bounce web elevator here that I do really like the design of. The simple things, it's these little details, honestly, that make the biggest differences. But these are the type of designs that as you get further and you get more used to building and Grounded, Ludarav is a master of very small, intricate details. Very cool little spaces. He's very creative. And as you can see, the way he's already blowing my mind with cool little staircases. Love the use of the angled quarter triangles and quarter blocks along with the door frames. These look really nice as like a simple hallway. that I'm a huge fan of already. Then he's got, dude, what? This is why Ludarav is a master builder level, and I put him there with no hesitation every time. Because in one of the smallest bases we've seen, there's more detail and stuff in this small space than most people will ever end up with. Ludarav specifically is the master of telling a story, of bringing life to a base specifically. Just in terms of like using the armor dummies is something you should really pay attention to in his builds, because everything has a use, everything's for a purpose. And so if he's going to place a cookery, he's going to have someone cooking over it, of course. He's going to add in the details, the little storage pieces. I mean, the roof alone with the little like upside down quarter triangles. He's got these all on different angles and stuff as well, which he might be building. Are these off-grid? I know he said he was messing with some off-grid techniques, and so he may have some off-grid stuff, because I don't know if you can build that at those two different angles there. But I love the little column designs here, with the lights inside, like breaking up the two columns, and then just like the little staircases. Each space is like specifically designed to be interesting. Like there's detail everywhere, and this is where I like, when I talk about more detail, this is where you inevitably want to get in a build, is that there's no empty spaces, everything's filled with something. Just telling more of a story, adding more pieces. These are fun little ones, like the lamps inside the pots with the ant heads on the stick. Really love those. Again, love the roof detail as well. He is building off-grid, I think. Yeah. So something interesting. I'm going to have to ask him how he built off-grid on this one specifically. But if you could tell, something like this is not the same as that, because this is on a different grid from the looks of it. Jeez. You have to look everywhere when you're looking at a Ludarav build, because you never know what kind of detail you're going to miss. He's the king of flow. His bases are master classes in all the different little pieces of design and detail that he adds in. Absolutely love what he's doing here. Taking just a simple balcony and just pushing the design by using little overhang pieces, using different materials. He's got depth, there's different texture to it. As you can see here, multiple grids being used as well for people who are interested in that. I will be teaching people how to build off-grid in Grounded 1 and 2, because they are they allow for really, really unique stuff. And you can see out here, these are built and everything's kind of clipping into one another, which makes for really, really unique little spaces. But love the little room, love the little exterior spaces. Again, copying his design from down below is another really good little effect, and taking the decision made downstairs to use a pillar and then a little lighted box above. Just huge amounts of fun little details. If you've never messed with adding your lights like this, they look incredible at night as a smaller design detail for some of those people, at least assuming your computer can handle the lighting in this game at this point. But they create really cool lighting effects. It adds a huge amount of light, which a little hard to see at this moment, but I'm a big fan of doing these like line techniques. When you hit the right rendering distance, they like add this huge, like interesting details. And Ludarav is very good at lighting, as you can see, and like filling in small spaces with just more and more detail. I'm a big fan of the way these little spaces are designed, and there's just detail everywhere you look, even in the sense that like I can't tell if this person's painting or if they're like going to the bathroom. But it's just so interesting and well done. I want to say they gotta be painting. Looks like a little painting studio. Very well done. And then another room over here. Like the functional side of the base, just lots more little details. Everything's crammed in. There's literally no empty spaces in a Ludarav base. That is his specialty. And there's actually 2 of these bases. He built another one over on the other side, as if this one wasn't cool enough. With the fireplace designs on the outside. Definitely love that little detail as well. Easy to miss on the outside. But just adding little structure and little additional pieces to your build like this can make a really, really big difference. One little tip from chat, you can go to high performance instead of medium, and it increases the rendering distance. Which is very helpful. I typically can't run my world on a... Dude, holy cow, Lud. This is insane. Dude, what the... The amount of detail in this. These are the type of worlds that very quickly, with the amount of lighting that Ludarav uses, very, very, very quickly become hard to do anything in because they start lagging. So much lighting already. Go down to low. Try to lag a little less. Because, holy cow. You guys didn't know. This is insane. The amount of detailing here and stuff being done is so crazy. I mean, we have the structural pieces of it are integrated in. The columns on the sides are completely lit all the way around, which is freaking nuts. I love the like square design with like an interior circles type of piece. Like, that's nuts. And then as if it wasn't enough lighting to like underlight the bridges as well. That's gonna look really cool at night as well if we can get it to actually show up. Yeah, big fan of this lighting, especially if you're on one of the higher quality settings. You'll see that stuff way further, but these are the type of suggestions I'm making when I say more lighting, because not only are you getting this, like, you get the lighting effect here, which looks really cool. It's almost like lighting up the little stem pieces, but then it's lighting up the underside of it. It's adding quite a bit of detail, and the fact that these almost like glow from the inside looks really cool. Another Ludarav special. He kind of came up with this this idea in Grounded 1 with some totally different materials, and I honestly think I like it more now with the pine than I did with the mushroom he had done previously. But I love the like use of triangle pieces, the quarter triangles. They are really, really interesting. You really get an idea with this base, the potential you have with the current build pieces. Whereas if you haven't seen, maybe if you're newer to Grounded, and this is your first time seeing some of these like highly detailed bases, this is like the potential that Grounded has, and we don't even have 10% of what we're eventually going to have. So you think of these with any material, and mushroom, ash cement, like all the different optionality. When you really start seeing like what you can do with the smaller build pieces, you really start to see what I mean when you break up the bigger walls when you have a larger base, like kind of shrinking the scale of the wall down using some of these smaller pieces. Just, it adds in so much detail. Even, all right, now we got to go inside. I'm gonna stop talking about how good it looks from the outside, because I know, as expected, the inside's just as insane. Love the little details, the fireplaces, the bug mounts, like already using all of the shelving, and using not only the detailing from the outside to improve the base, but it also becomes a design piece on the inside as well, which I think is a a really cool when you get to this level of detail in a base. And this is why I always say, like, bigger isn't always better. Like, I'm a mega builder, so I build big, but my goal is to have every space designed to this level. And he's even got people, armor dummies, sitting in chairs, like. And then again, a different way, utilizing the same designs from the other space, but in a slightly different way, slightly different colors, using the different pieces to like add structure to the cantilevered spaces is really, really well done. I'm loving the way these like windows are created from the design as well. Like, you almost don't notice them from the outside at first glance. They're kind of smaller windows, but on the inside they look really nice. Like just a small amount of detail, but from the inside these windows are really, really cool. And again, everything has lighting. Everything has like its own little designs. If you don't know how Lud does that, putting candles inside of the vases is a really, really cool design technique. I'm a really big fan of. It's one of his specialties. And they're not that difficult to do, which is also a nice detail. The amount of color going on in here is insane. Then you got like chandelier designs, walls that are half built but open up to different spaces. It's really well done. Just detail, detail, detail. Again, this is what happens when you just like building in Grounded. This is gorgeous. I really like this exit, honestly, to this balcony. Just so well done. And we're not even up to like the coolest spots yet. And this is just a little tiny inside of the base. These would be really good for like lampposts for people's builds as well. I'll give you a pass on your circle stairs, Ludarav, because I hate the spiral staircases because they make me sick. But I like it here. They are very functional for getting around smaller bases. Then again, another really well-designed little exterior space. I love that as other people have done a good job as well on these. It's the like free-flowing randomness that just makes it so interesting. Like there's not really a rhyme or reason to why each space is laid out the way it is, but it feels natural. It feels like very intentional. And again, like another person painting in their little art studio. It's also just another really good addition. And I think more staircases as well. Like you could do a line of these across the entire thing, which would be really fun. And we go. How do we even get to the top? It's on the other side. And he's forcing me to go to every location. I don't even know how to get to some of these places right now. There it is. Yeah, absolutely love this little space. Something about this covered roof with these like incredible, like almost like helix designed, especially with the dark on one and the light on the other, looks really cool. And they like intertwine each other, looks really, really nice. And again, not just using one color as well is really well done, like switching it up and like drawing interest to each one. This, I can't tell. There's a possibility that he's built this off grid. I can't quite tell from how it's built at the moment. Made spiral staircases so interesting somehow. Again, like this guy's up here crafting, like making swords and stuff. He's got people looking out everywhere. Like if anyone wants to know how to bring life to a build, add story. Like Ludarav is the king of storytelling. And that's why I find that the majority of his bases become so like visually interesting, because he's not just building a base that works, he's trying to tell some story that he's created for himself. There's whether it be a faction of warriors, which is kind of his go-to style of build, I guess you could say. Is typically he creates a unique village, city, castle, whatever the base is, designed specifically for one armor set, and then his goal is to take every armor set and make a different build based off of that armor set. And so you have this, like, you get to this point where this world is like just growing and growing and growing, and to sort of one of his inspirations would be like Middle Earth or the Lord of the Rings and stuff. And so you get these different armies and factions that all start telling stories within them, and how they're interacting. And so, like, I've noticed, like, this one for him looks to be the Acorn faction or people. And so he's building specifically around the materials that look good with the Acorn set, as well as, like, pushing design techniques to tell an interesting story. And I absolutely love just the little details. It's these little tiny things that are added in. Instead of just using one piece here, like a half wall or a full wall, break it up and add in a little detail. I love the way, like, these are added in as like a way to make this a square out of a circle. Also a really interesting design. And then just like continuing with the ridiculous lighting as well are so interesting. But yeah, I guess we will hop into the grading, which, I mean, what's the point of even saying? I'm going to give Lud 5s on everything, because he's been doing this for so long. He's so good at this. The detail work, the design, the flow. I mean, like, immediately when you see these, you just go, wow. The detailing. So first impressions, easy 5. Layout and flow, they don't necessarily flow. I like to say Ludarav has chaos instead of flow and layout. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it, but it always just makes these really interesting bases to, like, just get lost and wander in. And I found, if you haven't watched any of his Grounded 1 base tours, they're long because he builds huge, and there's secret walkways, and I'm very excited to show off what he does in Grounded 2 as we get more and more build pieces, because it's going to be ridiculous. And these are just 2 little examples that I think he built in like 2 days, if that. Might have been a day and a half or 2, if that, because he built these really quick, specifically for us to just see some cool stuff in stream today. Even just like following the accents and the details of the roof line. To accentuate those things and just draw attention to all the little pieces. So again, structure and realism, there's nothing real about anything Ludarav builds, and I still have to give it a 5 out of 5 because it's just incredible. He's using the structures in really interesting ways to create supports. Everything feels very intentional, using little pieces to just add more detail in different areas, as well as like adding structural kind of interesting design pieces to these outer pieces as well, making things like bounce web elevators not ugly. That's a feat in its own. Functionally, again, Ludarav does nothing functionally. His bases are purely meant to entertain and just like push the limits that the build system in Grounded allows. But the fact that he can tell a story with this like video game and create story behind it, like the function that he's trying to achieve is always something that works really well. It may not be functional in the sense that like the base that we're all going to build for our survival worlds, but it always gives something interesting that you could easily take this base and kind of take your own spin on it and add your own details and make it really interesting. The creativity and theme is 20 out of 10. Easily. Same with design aesthetics, 20 out of 10. Like, these builds are pushing the limits of the few pieces we have in Grounded 2 at the moment, and is like really showcasing how far the build systems in this game can be pushed, because it takes time and it takes a lot of build time to get this comfortable with the build systems and the way you can use these different pieces together at the same time. But it when you get to that level, you can create incredible things. And improvement-wise, I have no improvements that I would make on Ludarav. He's using lighting really well. He's using the materiality really well. He's using many different materials to create depth. It's not just a flat wall. It has designs to it, and it's moving in and out, so you have depth and different materials to break up all the different walls. The lighting is breaking everything up really well. The flow of just wandering through these like 2 small bases. The fact that these are probably the smallest bases we've reviewed, and it takes that long, almost 20 minutes to even walk through 2 little bases is a testament to like how well designed and how interesting they are. Because you have to look at everything in these bases, which is the dream. These are the type of build that not necessarily that everyone is going to have or wants to have, but aspiring to add the amount of detail in every space that Ludarav does is a goal that we can all aspire to in terms of our builds. Because I find a lot of times I look at my bases and think, wow, this is really good. I'm really happy with this, and I'm like, it doesn't have enough detail. Like Ludarav's making me look bad again. In the best way possible, because we push each other to like push our designs to another level. But yeah, I'm overall 100 out of 10 on these ones, Lud. I'm fully inspired and will be stealing more of your designs as always. But yeah, if you have not checked out Ludarav's Grounded 1 stuff, please go check out his base tours. They do not get enough love for how absolutely insane they are. Creative or not, the level of detail and passion he puts into these builds is something that I think everyone needs to see. And if you feel like you want to design more and your base is maybe too simple, his bases will make you'll end up finishing the video and you will have so many ideas that you won't even know where to go from there. It's almost overwhelming how good his builds are. So, very well done, Lud. Once again, I know you're not here at the moment, but thank you for building these for everyone to see. I know for a fact that people are going to be very interested in kind of adding some of these fun details into their builds, and you do an amazing job inspiring the build community to keep building and to push things further. But yeah, we'll call that one there. All right, let's catch back up. Is everyone's stream running all right? I keep seeing some people are struggling with lag. Some people just had to refresh. I want to make sure everything's still working well. It looks sinister. Yeah, it definitely does. It's a sinister. He has a very sinister style. I would say that's a very good way to describe it. How do you put people in the chairs? That's a Ludarav question. I'm assuming what he did, we can run through. I saw a couple of questions on details that he did. I'm assuming all he did was place a seated person. Yeah, just like that. And then someone asked about the candles. You just pick the candles and you can just put them in. Nothing too crazy, but they look really nice because at night they like make the vases almost glow. Details are nice and all, but it makes me feel claustrophobic. That is all of Ludarav's bases. All of his bases are like, he has some of the biggest bases that anyone's ever built in Grounded in general, and the bases that are huge have this much detail in every single space. There is not one spot that he leaves undesigned. Every time they are this like incredibly detailed. So it's not everyone's style, but I think a lot of people could learn from like the little details that he does, just adding vases, trash cans, using the decor items in slightly more unique and interesting ways that you don't necessarily think of unless you've seen someone pushing those limits a little bit further. And for those wondering, the off-grid stuff, I will be making a video, kind of threw in all this base review stuff. So we don't necessarily, I haven't had as much time as I maybe would like to work on my how to build off-grid video, but that is one of the next videos coming out on the channel, is how to build off-grid for those that are interested, maybe those that have no clue what I'm talking about. If you haven't watched some of my builds, Ludarav here has built some of this off-grid, so you can't normally like clip some of these pieces together in this like unique way, which it's really hard to tell with how much stuff is going on at the moment. But specifically, I believe these walls are placed off-grid, hence the reason these angles are probably not what you're used to. So I think what he's done is build like this whole half of the base almost. Yeah, you can vaguely start seeing where these are kind of clipping into one another, and that's because he built like half of this base off-grid. Which, for the people who don't know, it's tough. It's a really cool build technique, but it takes a lot of setup and time. But when used correctly, it ends up being really, really cool and creating unique things that no one else is building. Giving myself ideas on creative survival, yeah, very good. Yeah, you do get more pieces in the in creative at the moment as well, which is part of the reason Ludarav likes building. Not in survival. The funny part is Ludarav, just a random thing, he has thousands of hours in Grounded 1, and he has never once played the story. Literally has never once started the story. And he has more builds and crazy designs than like literally anyone else in the entire Grounded community. Oh, well, good job, Awaki. No worries. You tab into Grounded, it lags. Sounds like your computer's struggling, bro. A lot of items here on creative. Yeah, we'll get them soon, though. I mean, most of these items are just things that haven't been added yet, and we'll get them, though. If they're in creative, they're coming to survival over time. But hopefully it gets people inspired into some of the different things that you can do. A decent amount of the stuff can be used, but not everything. The thatch roof's form looked draped. Not sharp or jagged. That one's cool too. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the fireplaces are a great one. I didn't even realize those weren't in survival yet. Yeah. Very well done, Lude. I know you're not here right now, but insane. For 2 builds that he built in like 2 days. Pretty nuts. Yeah, he literally only plays the game for building. He never once played the story on Grounded 1. And he's only going for creative on this too. Okay, Melly Mel is next. Let's see, which one was that? Melly Bug Life. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna turn this off real fast while we load in. We gotta get cranking, man. Okay. Oh, I didn't turn it off. What did I turn off? Oh, I just moved something. Cool. That's what we meant, right? He has a secret passage to the story, don't worry. Yeah, that's literally what his builds go into a different dimension. It's the game plus having stream open in 2 tabs. Yeah, that would make sense, Ducky. I mean, on some of the bigger worlds, my computer was definitely struggling a little bit. Okay, next up we have Melly Mel's base. They are located, another one over by the ice cream cart. We actually had two, three over here today, so some slightly different build locations. Gonna be an interesting one. I'm never over here, so I don't know the resources as well in this area, honestly. So it'd be interesting to kind of see how easy it is to build a base over here. It feels maybe a little disconnected at this point, but as they add more and more to the game in general and add more playable areas, like these areas could become really, really good base locations. Whereas like mine's quickly gonna feel way far away from everything. Whereas if inevitably, hopefully, if we get this far, these base locations are going to start making a lot of sense. And then Melly Mel's base. So fun little entrance here. Overall, you've seen, actually, yeah, this is where Ronin's was, Ronin Bear. Totally different base designs and stuff, but in the same locations, which I think is really cool to see. This is maybe more of a sprawling village type thing. When I first hopped in this world, I absolutely loved this fun little entrance. Creates a very like dynamic, fun entryway to have these like soldiers guarding over the entrance, and then you have this scorpion on top of Stonehenge. Which, if you haven't seen the Stonehenge area, this place is freaking epic. Such a cool little addition to like add to the game, just a random Stonehenge, and I'm like so excited that Melly Mel built here because I think it's a really interesting spot, and I was the whole time was wondering like how do you build in this spot? It looks so cool, I want to build in it, but I had no clue, and I definitely love the way Melly Mel has kind of like incorporated this really interesting little built piece into their own little design. And how they build up over it as well and fully incorporate it, everything coming like right through the center and using this as their own doorway, I think is really unique and interesting. Maybe we go to the smaller one first. Definitely loving the like little fortress vibes, I guess is what I'd call it. It feels really cool. Like a very fortified fortress with like interior gardens and stuff, utilizing these pieces because you can't remove things like this in the game, but they've done a really good job like creating a courtyard out of a really interesting space already, which I think is a super creative way of utilizing something pre-built into the game. Oops, I'm stuck. And then like the rock is another way to like just add more detail and places for bugs. Really like how these look like they're like a window almost. Very cool. Love like their function while they're also sort of like an interesting design piece. Like they're purposefully made to feel like a window, which I think looks really, really cool. Very functional and interesting at the same time. Like we can go higher? Yeah, we can. It's definitely a fun little space. Love the design of this little space with like the fireplace. These are an interesting choice. Can you actually get a spider out of here? Feels like they would just get trapped forever. But I like it. A little hatchery space. Very fun. Yeah, you got the whole thing. Holy cow. Yeah, it's a very interesting little, like, mansion design almost. It's over here. Oh, we can go around the back. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's where that goes. I definitely like this rock in general. Like, building up and around it is, like, part of your base design is really cool. You've done a really good job, like first impressions wise, really good job utilizing the built environment, which I think a lot of builders can struggle with, because when you just build a big flat space, it can be really difficult to add the details in and not create unnecessary spaces, I guess, for a lack of a better way to describe what I'm trying to say. It's like you're just building to build when it's a flat, big, open, flat area. That's why I tend to like steer away from building on places like the porch, or just like incredibly flat, man-made type surfaces, because there's nothing informing your design and like why you're making the decisions you're making. So it can be really difficult to, why am I building this? Why am I making a house here versus there? Whereas when you build with the kind of like pre-built environment that the devs have given us, it forces you to build around what's already there. And I think it creates, as you can see here, like really interesting builds that they're not necessarily doing anything too insane. Like, it's just a wall going around, but because of the interesting courtyard space and where they picked the location, it's one of the coolest outdoor spaces we've seen. It just feels really, really intentional when you build with the cool aspects. And then you get elements like these rock structures that no other base gets unless you build in unique locations. So I really like the base location here. Gotta wander around because I have no clue where we're going. You got your own like little mini game, like it's like a carnival. Very cool little space, simple, functional, but you're definitely having fun with the armor dummies. It kind of feels like a carnival, or like something you see at the fair. Like you're shooting at the dummies to win a prize, or you're shooting at the targets as well. And also, great little design right there as well, like to add the targets to the little ant heads. That's the totems. That's what they are. Adding them there so they're like raised, because the other ones don't really go off the ground very high. So I love that little design aspect as well. What else we got? There's just floors everywhere. These are the ones you just get lost in. Now, you guys are all really good at building sort of that chaos factor into your builds that I really like. It's one of the things I probably struggle with the most as a designer, is not building super symmetrical, like obvious spaces in my builds. Just because I have an OCD building style in many ways. So I really like seeing how these spaces are kind of like divided up and designed into completely different things. And they don't necessarily become super repetitive. They're just kind of like interesting, unique all the way around. And you're not just going up one set of stairs to go down a different set of stairs as well. But really like how you've kind of differentiated each one of these little spaces. The windows, we're going to check this out front. It looks really nice. Becomes a little interesting the way you've divided this up with the windows and stuff, but also it's just kind of unique at the same time, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. Again, the basketball. Brochacho, thank you for the raid. Appreciate it, and the happy affiliate anniversary. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Got the highway. I'd run all the way down that, but that seems like it goes a long, long way. Yeah, everyone at the basketball courts today. Like half the builds have had basketball courts, and they all are like totally different. And why doesn't my house have a basketball court on the roof is my question. Because I really want one now. Okay, I think we've hit all the different locations on this one. It's not necessarily the biggest build, but it is very detailed for not being absolutely massive. Yeah, let's go look at it from the outside areas again and go over scoring and everything I really like. I'm gonna get up on this. Nope. View the base. We'll hop into the grading maybe potentially faster than the other ones, since we're going a little slow earlier. But, gosh. In terms of first impressions, easy 5 out of 5, Melly. I mean, the creativity of your base location and how you've utilized this is a masterclass in like the exterior spaces of design. Something I've always really tried to do in my designs is create interesting plazas and courtyards, and they all feel like they fail to impress in comparison to what you've done with this really, really interesting location and how you built through the archway and you've really utilized it. You built the wall around it, so it really like frames everything really nicely, but it feels like a very natural build because you've left the grass. You didn't just chop everything down and get rid of it to start from scratch. Like I like that you've taken all the elements of the location that you specifically picked to build this base, and you've used them as a way to enhance the build. So I think that's incredibly well done on that aspect. I really, really like the location and how you've utilized it in your entire build in it. Between the rock on the backside, the courtyard space, using the Stonehenge, like every piece of it feels very intentional and very well done. The layout and flow, again, layout is awesome. Easy 5 out of 5 on that. The flow and stuff, like it's fun, it's unique, it's not super repetitive and like overly symmetrical. Like it feels interesting and unique to walk into each space and just kind of like flow throughout the base to these different areas. And you have a lot of interesting like viewpoint spaces and points of interest between like multiple balconies on each different space, rooftop balconies, rooftop spaces that you can hang out with, or like turrets. And you took like a symmetrical build, but then made it on the inside not super symmetrical, and so it creates, you think you know where you're going on the inside, but you don't until you're actually in it, which I enjoy the exploration part of that. So I think you've done a very good job there. Structural and realism, I mean, it literally looks like a mansion, like a hilltop mansion with like a mother-in-law house. Like the realism of it is really well done. It looks very cool. It does feel like some type of like hillside mansion built hundreds of years ago that you would stumble upon in a cool country. So I'm a very big fan of the design and just the aspects of how you've kind of utilized the individual pieces and what's already built around everything. Design and aesthetics, I'm going to give a 5 out of 5, honestly. I know there's things you can continue to work on and add in terms of maybe the interiors could use a little bit more decoration pieces. Of course, we're limited, so we only have so much we can use right now, so there's no reason to like force it just because I'm saying that. But when you talk about the design and the aesthetics, really like you've knocked it out of the park with the design aesthetics. The use of the pebblet and the fireplaces as well to create like this epic entrance and really draw attention to just this amazingly designed courtyard space, and that you framed with not only the walls but the builds themselves looks really, really cool. Functionality, again, it's a functional base. It works. It was a little hard to tell maybe where some of your chests are, so you don't have maybe as many functional spaces as some others. Like you don't have space for a huge storage room or those things, but that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't work, because the function of it can be just as interesting to just be a cool looking base as well as something that works. And as long as it works for you, it doesn't really matter if you have enough space to build massive storage rooms like I do, where I'm building to make massive bases and have a chest for every item, and that's not necessarily everyone's goal. So in terms of the functionality of what you've done, like trying to create a mansion on top of this hill with this really interesting courtyard, like it's all very well achieved. The creativity and theme, easy 6 out of 5. I can't, I know I'm gonna say it over and over again, this courtyard is phenomenal. It is so interesting. It's so well designed, and you've obviously had a lot of fun with like incorporating that in the entire build. Not only just the courtyard, but utilizing the rocks, using the fun little Dew catchers is like a window piece, is something that I think a lot of people could get inspired by and find really interesting. Loving just the little window details and how you've switched things up and the towers on the sides. Like, very creative, very interesting build, and it feels like you've kind of like picked an aesthetic and you really stuck with it well. In terms of improvements, not a ton of improvements that I would really make. I think the main pieces that I would potentially try to focus on is, now that you have such a good exterior and you're using the pine cone, which I know we don't all have. I'm assuming this one was built in creative, so not everyone can do this aesthetic necessarily, but I like the way you've mixed the pebbles with the stone and or the pebblet foundations with the weed stems and the pine cones, and tossed in a little bit of pine. Like, really interesting things. The only thing I could really think of is maybe try messing with some slightly different interior materials. Currently, I think one of my personal gripes with the weed stem walls is that they're too see-through. Typically, they have too many gaps, and so on the inside of a build, I might lean more towards using pine. I know it's not necessarily aesthetically the same, but I do like the way that it separates the spaces better. Whereas only using the stem on the inside, it looks a little redundant currently. I could easily see like maybe switching some of these lower stem walls, leaving the upper stem walls is like ways to allow light and like visual cues through into other rooms, which I think is nice. Like, being able to see these things is interesting, but it kind of ruins the illusion of house at times when you use the stem walls on the inside of a base, or at least when you use this many of them. So I'd potentially challenge you to maybe try to use a different material for the walls on the inside, similar to that you've done in some of these areas. Doesn't need to be all of them by any means, and I think a mix is a good thing, but I'd experiment maybe with slightly different materials on the insides and how they can kind of add more detail, because it feels a little stick heavy at times, like going through some of these spaces. Whereas everything's really good, but when I start to see spaces like this that you've used multiple materials and you've added a little bit more to it, I tend to be immediately drawn to those specific details. But overall, very well done. And again, last thing I could say is I really enjoy the creativity and fun you've had with this. I want to see more of this type of design, not necessarily the like fair game, like shooting targets stuff, but bring this creativity to the rest of the inside of this base. Again, similar to like what you done with the dew catchers. Having fun with those pieces and like taking that design to the next level, I think is what brings the life to this base overall. And I think breaking up some of these like longer hallways and stuff with similar creative design concepts could really take it to like the next level, like really amp it up to something that was from like, wow, this is a really, really cool base, to like, holy cow, hold on a second. It would just take it just one notch up, I think, by just switching up some of the interior materials and stuff, because I do like the look of the stem and the pebble foundations on the outside with the pine roofs. But very, very well done. That was Melly Mel. I want to thank you again for letting me review this base. Overall, you killed it. Huge fan of what you've designed here. I think it's really, really interesting, and I think it's a perfect showcase of what you can do if you build around the world that these developers have created and not just find a flat space. And I think you can take something that's maybe a simple mansion and turn it into something that's like aesthetically jaw-dropping in many ways by incorporating interesting aspects of the completely hand-built world that the Obsidian developers have given us. And that's one of my favorite things to do, is why I build around a lamppost, why I build around a pagoda in Grounded 1, why I built in the sandbox in Grounded 1, is because there's really interesting elements that are already in the game, and they can really add interesting details that no one else's base can incorporate unless you build with something like this Stonehenge thing. So very, very well done. Okay. Morning, Carnage. Welcome in. Hope you're having a good night. Sorry I missed that. I've been trying not to talk too much because we're making these into videos after each review. So I'm trying to stay a little more succinct. But welcome in and thank you for hanging out. Appreciate it as well. Brochacho, thank you again for the anniversary and the raid as well. Appreciate it. Built a basketball stadium in Grounded 1. Yeah. Yeah, there's some really cool like stadium builds that I've seen. Bear's worried about him building on the ground that it might get destroyed. I think luckily he's in creative, so if things break, it's not the end of the world, but it's sketchy. That's the unfortunate side of early access when you're building near the edges, is you have no clue. I guess I would hope that they put all this effort into building this Stonehenge. I'd be really surprised if they affect too much of this. Maybe some of these outer portions might get a little bit messed with, but the rock designs here feel really intentional in many ways, so hopefully not too much changes. Dreamer and Grounded 1 got mad when half their base ended up buried underground. Yeah, it happens. My thought process on building in early access is that as a streamer specifically, it's just an endless content loop for me. So like if my stuff gets destroyed, it's just another reason to build something else. How do I put my build up to be put in a video of yours? Reach out to me on the Discord. You can join the Discord and message me in there, or you can just message, DM me directly. And I just need your Xbox username, and I will get you added on the next one, which would be next Tuesday. And we're gonna need to fill up spots for Tuesday, so anyone that's interested, please reach out to me on Discord and we'll get it set up, and then I just will need you to share your world with me, and then I review it like this on stream. Had to come check you out. Heard you had impressive builds and you did not disappoint. That was my question. Are you not afraid of topography changes? Yeah, not at all. It happens. I don't know. I just try to keep the attitude of if things break, they break, and it's a reason to do something else. Hard to get too mad. My whole channel's created around, I'm sure, like, because since we're reviewing other people's bases at the moment, these aren't my bases. I'm sure individual viewers could be pretty disappointed when things get destroyed, so I can understand the frustration and the struggle of that, and not wanting to build like massive, crazy things while we're still in early access. But for me, it's just endless content. So something breaks, I get to make a video on how it broke, and now I get to build something else stupid for no reason. But we have 2 more tours to do, and then I'm more than happy to hop in my world and show off my current build as well. Because we have an interesting lamppost base going on that I think a lot of people will enjoy, but it's not done yet. We got a lot of work to do. You'll have your creative world done by then, Backwoods? Sounds good. I'd love to show it off. I got no problem showing off interesting creative builds at the moment. Oh, he good. Try to be. Try to be the leading authority on base building. Not the best in the world, but I try to help as many people as I can. All right. We now have Matt Leagy. I believe this is another starting base ranger post area. Already better than me. I have a degree in architecture and design and stuff, though, so it's not like this is what I do. My only goal is to inspire other people to build bigger, better, crazier things in general, so I'm going to turn the camera off real fast so I can sleep and not ruin this one. Now, you saw all of it for a second there, or some of it. I just gotta find a bed. Bear with me for 1 second. I think I have to go all the way upstairs. Aha. Thank you, Ducky. Thank you. Glad everyone thinks I'm good. It would suck to build as much as I do and have everyone think I suck, so. Lost internet for an hour. I missed a lot. Well, luckily you can watch it all again, and as the video that came out today, we will be making all of the base tours done tonight into another video, so everything will be shortened up. We'll clean up all of these conversations and reading chat and all the stuff in the middle, so I know it sucks to miss it, but it will be a VOD on my channel, and it will be made into a full base review video as well. So you didn't miss anything. You definitely are going to want to go back and check out the last, like, 2-3 bases if you missed an hour, because they're good. They're fun ones. Okay. Next up, we have Matt Lee. This base is another kind of starting area ranger station build. So as always, it's hard to go wrong with this base location. It just works. Might be a little far away from all the later content, especially as we start getting like some of the next updates or potentially around this area. So it's a little removed, but at the end of the day, it's not a bad place, especially if you have to respawn your backpack when you die from falling off your spider. So it's very convenient overall, and especially as we get the ability to travel between the ranger stations, I would assume it ends up being a really good location, being right next to the ranger station. So it works very well on that. And this is Matt League's base. Say right off the bat, I'm really enjoying the use of materials, of materiality and different materials here. Not only are you using like the thatch and pine materials really well, but then you have the complete opposite with grass and stem, and then also somehow utilizing the mushrooms for the roof and stuff, like, is a really interesting one. And I think we turn this to night. Yeah. One of the reasons I really enjoy the mushrooms is when you put lights in them, they glow whatever color the light is. So I really like that little design aspect. And like the use of colors to light up the bug mounts or the stuffed bugs is really interesting. Yeah, let's just get into it because I find it very interesting. Got their little like bug arena out here. Which is a fun one. I'm assuming this, yeah, this is like they're betting on the bug fight or something would be my best guess of what's happening here, which is kind of a fun little detail. I don't think I've ever seen a mini bug arena in any build before, so that's a fun one. Yeah, bugs fight, bugs fight. Chat wants more bug fights. So definitely love that. Great little storage space. No, it's not necessarily anything too crazy, but works really well to just take the bottom of your base, make it an easy storage location so you can just build your pieces from above. Great. You got all the sap collectors as well in one location, which works really well. That's one of the best parts about the starting area, is just having sap right there. So that all works really well. Not one of the bigger bases necessarily that we've seen, but I'm a big fan of just the little details that you have going on. And having fun with each individual space. Great little storage room, like living space all in one. I like these in front, honestly. I might have to mess with these as some more design pieces for myself. I haven't used those a whole lot. And also just like creating like little hoods almost over your like cooking spaces, kind of similar to like how an actual oven has the vent hood over it with the lighting. Looks really nice. I already know that this is a nice effect. I've seen some people utilizing that design piece a little bit. One thing you can do, I think, Backwoods Gaming is someone who built grass floors and then put lighting underneath. I'm not necessarily sure how they accomplished the lighting underneath, but the pebble paths on a grass floor look insane. Like, absolutely insane. when you put lighting underneath it, because it glows like the green from the grass. It looks really, really cool. But I love how this is both just a really functional space, but somehow like you've also utilized the massive mushrooms to add to the overall design. So I think that works really well. I didn't even notice you could get through like that. And then up top,
Nothing like
just a simple little floating bedroom, which is a fun one. Just sleeping under the stars, like... No, it's not necessarily massive or anything, but this makes me want to live in this base. Like, it's a small detail, but the little red carpet, like, I want to sleep under the stars with my little bed and just look up at the sky. Like, I might have to build an outside bedroom now, because I really like this. It's kind of funny and floating, and it doesn't make sense and work functionally, or like literally work, because there's so many things being supported, but it also is like it's such an intriguing little design decision that it like really makes me want to live in here and just sleep under the stars. Who needs a fully enclosed base when you can just sleep under the stars and look up out at night and look at the really cool grounded world that we have. So I'm a big fan of your little design decisions. I know it's not the biggest, craziest base of the night, but your smaller design decisions are really well made. You've done a very good job, and I can tell that probably still building and adding to this. So there's a lot of potential for more growth and more room to add as you keep going. Say, in terms of, since there's not as much to look at, we can kind of hop straight into the improvements and things I would add, along with the scores and everything. Love the first impression, honestly. It's a really fun little base. I can't get over the fact enough that, like, you figured out that the mushrooms have lighting and you've added those as a design detail, because very few people notice those things when they're getting started building. So it's a great little detail that you've like tapped into so early in your build. I love the creativity with like the bug battling arena. Really good little design here. Love that you've not only using a different material, but you're also figuring out that the quarter walls have different details than the full walls, and you can add those in as their own little kind of like design pieces. So you've done a really good job experimenting with kind of the few build pieces that we currently have. Even like your lighting, again, I would say is a massive plus on this. So first impressions, give you a 4 out of 5. It needs a little bit more work. I want to see this level of detail put into this side of the base. Not necessarily that you have to change the materials or anything, but I think you could find that some of the door frames, some of the quarter stem wall pieces could be used in an interesting way on this side of the base. I do like it's just simple and elegant. It's not trying to be too over the top, like when you maybe compare it to like Ludarav's builds that are like the essence of over design and going over the top and just making something that's ridiculous, whereas this feels very much like simple, intentional. You made all the different decisions for a very specific reason, and I commend you on those things specifically, because you've done a really good job. Even like these windows, like messing with these details. So I really like the attention to detail, and I want to see even more of it to take this base to the next level, especially when you have maybe a little smaller base overall. Really, really pushing the level of detail is something that will like massively make this base a 10 out of 10 kind of base. The layout and flow, very simple layout, good flow. It's big, it's open, it works. It seems like everything functions, so you've done a good job on that. Can't knock you any points on the layout and everything. I also like that you had fun with like the cantilevered bridges and stuff. So it's like you've made things that are functional, you've made things that are just fun to be fun and interesting to be interesting. So I really like that. In the realism and structure side of it, I almost like that you've thrown that element out the window. It's not about creating a perfectly supported structure. It's more about creating like this specific feeling that I really like. It's just like, oh, I want to sleep under the stars, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to build it out and just have fun with it and do it because I can. And then, like, realism-wise, like, of course, no one's going to use mushrooms to cover their house. But I love that that is a part of this base. I think it's a really interesting detail that you decided to put these. Most people would put them on the ground floor and try to hide them away, and like you specifically went out of your way to make them a huge design decision in the base. So I really like that you've done that. Design and aesthetics, again, 4 out of 5. I think you have a ton of potential in how you can continue adding to this base and making little design additions, adding in more details, just the little things.
The texture is...
But if you continue with what you've done so far, like the small design decisions, especially in the little bug battle arena, and with the mushrooms and how your bed is like floating on its own little platform, like those decisions taken to the next level and continually adding to them are going to really add interesting effects to this base. Functionality, very functional. Can't knock you any points on that. 5 out of 5. It's simple. It's easy. It works. Your spaces, your materials are right on top. Your storage chests are on the bottom. You have everything right where you need it, so it works out really well. Creativity and theme, again, kind of in the design and aesthetic side. The creativity is great. Like you've done a very good job being creative with this, and pushing build pieces in a direction that the majority of people will not do or haven't done. So I really, really like just the small decisions you've made that make for a really unique, interesting base. And through some of the things that I've already talked about, improvements that I would make specifically is just trying to figure out how you can take this level of detail and sort of expand it across the base. How can you maybe add more elements like this? I know I've used the mushrooms in creative and unique ways in my Grounded 1 builds. So I would love to see other ideas you have to utilize some of the mushrooms and stuff. Don't be afraid to maybe switch up some of the windows. Maybe don't have them quite so repetitive. There's something I do like about this, the grass sturdy walls with the mix with stems. But maybe swapping it every other one and adding like a little unique design piece in there just to kind of like pop the level of detail up a little bit on this larger space, I think might help overall in terms of the detail level. I think you've done a really good job with the lighting on the whole base. You obviously have had fun with the lighting. Don't be afraid to keep messing with more lighting. You can find a way to underlight your grass floor with the pebble foundation or the pebble paths. It looks incredible. So it might be worth something looking at there. And then maybe on just some of these specific areas, I think I like the way you've lit the other areas, but you could use a little bit more lighting in this specific space. Just to add it, make it a little easier to see at night. But overall, it functions and it works really well. So it's hard to knock you on all that much because you've done a really good job. And I think there's a lot of room for additions and adding more and more details as you keep going. And I'd love to see maybe more of this kind of finding its way to the outside of the base, similar to Astro Lizard, I believe, with the like floating platforms that go around their base and kind of like become interesting walkways. I could really see you taking this to another level and like bringing it all the way around and potentially raising up more levels and adding more details that way. Because as we get more base pieces, you're gonna want more options and more space probably in the long run to get everything in the game added. But I think you did a really good job. I'm really impressed. It's one of the smaller builds, but you've done a really good job at kind of creating an interesting small build that's not just one material. You've messed with lots of materials. You've played with the lights. Like you've obviously been testing and messing with the different options we have. So I would just push you to continue elevating it and just continue adding to it and see where you can take it. Because I think overall you've done a really good job. So congrats, and thanks for letting me show it off. Once again, that is Matt Lee Gee. Really cool little base design here. Thank you again for letting me take a look at it and giving you a review. Appreciate it. Alrighty. Another fun little one. 8 out of giggity. You guys are too funny. No one would use mushrooms. There's a bunch of pissed off hobbits somewhere. This is awesome. I've been searching for detailed base designs for so long. Gained a subscriber. Thank you, Travis. I appreciate that. Yeah, these all get turned into videos, assuming you're still here. These will all get turned into individual YouTube video, or a YouTube video going over tonight's base tours. Depending on how long it is, we might have to break it up into 2 videos and keep it to like 4, maybe 5 base reviews per video. We'll see how it ends up. But yeah, these will all turn into videos. There's also, I just posted a video today of the last base tours we did, and there was some, both nights of base tours have been kind of absolutely insane. So I really appreciate everyone letting me show these bases off, because they are very cool. Everyone's done a really good job. And hopefully, as intended, these are all inspiring everyone to kind of continue building and pushing their base designs to that next level. And last but not least, for the night, we have Easy Jones. I know they were here earlier, so hopefully they're still here as well. But if not, we will definitely talk to them later and let them know how cool it is. Ah, this one. God. This is a great little base. Another quick, easy one to review. It's not massive, but it's a really cool one. I love the kitchen hood design. I've been looking for something for my kitchen. Yeah, I hadn't even noticed that at first, but I think it was really well done. Alrighty. So, funnily enough, I'm amazed at how so many people gravitate to the same little base areas and do completely different designs every time. So we did on last Tuesday's base review stream, we did a really cool little base built inside of this log, which I found to be a really interesting little base location. This one uses the outside area of the log. It does not have anything built in the log, but it uses sort of the cool flat space that the previous person, Action Jackson, was using to expand into. Really cool little build here. I think it's perfect for showing it at night as well, because the lighting on this one is really cool. Take notes. Love the lighting right off the bat. And we'll have to look at it at daytime just to get the full effect, but honestly, the lighting of this is absolutely incredible. You tell, like, the different levels and details added in with the stem versus the pine walls and stuff is really well done and really cool. Really like the way this just like glows at night. Very, very interesting. And one of my favorite things is lighting in this game. I think makes for such interesting builds. And he's got a red snapper. Kind of similar to like Niles from our first night of base tours, but in its own completely own unique way, which I really like. I love the little colonnade out front, the way you've kind of messed with using these for little details, but also using the ladders in a kind of fun, unique way as well, kind of creating your own window effect. And it's always really fun to me to see how two people can kind of do the same thing and it ends up totally different. Like it's the same thing, but it's not at all the same thing. Little doors, really functional, simple interior. I do really like the curved look for these. That's not the first time tonight that I've seen someone kind of placing their chest on a curve, and I really like it. It looks, I don't know, clean. It's a little more interesting than just the copy paste 100 of them in a line. I really like that, and this looks horrifying. The scorpion armor, horrifying. Someone's gonna make some crazy horror build out of that in Playgrounds or something. Again, love the thatch flooring. There's something that just feels homey about it. And the lighting, again, the use of lighting. I don't know what specifically you're doing to make it, but I love that, like, the pillows light up. There's just this glow to this base that is just really cool looking. And then again, like, really well done on the ladders to make your own, like, windows as well that I really like. And then the continuation of me loving triangles in this game. There's just something that looks so good about messing with the triangles and also creating your own little like bed frame as well, with still having functionality of side tables and everything. It's like unique and interesting in every aspect. How? We have to go around the back to get to the top level. Yes. Now, what is up here? Ah, it's your buggy room. Okay. I was wondering. I was like, what is up there? It actually works really well, and something I'd highly suggest to a lot of people is utilizing the roof pieces as ramps instead of just using them as roofs. It works really well for the buggies because they just... The staircases tend to be a little small, so using ramps is a great way to incorporate buggies into your base. Especially like how you decided to put them up on the top and not on the bottom, to where like your functional stuff is all below, and then you have these like fun little spaces for the buggies that you've just designed out to be their own little interesting design piece. So again, lighting, awesome. I love the windows. I love the depth that you've added, where you added pieces on the outside and the inside of these. It really adds an incredible amount of depth to such a small build. Because this is not a large build by any means, but the amount of detail really brings it to life. I instantly love looking at this design because they've done... And they have curved walls up on the top that add depth between the more square builds. The lighting and the backlighting and everything looks really, really nice. I love the like patterning, like making little hearts, adding in your own unique windows as well is really, really cool. Yeah, I'm really impressed. I love seeing these like smaller bases because I feel like this type of base is going to resonate with the majority of the grounded community. More so than maybe some of my builds will. I know my builds can tend to be like over the top and ridiculous and really cool, but for the vast majority of players, it's too much base. It just becomes like overwhelming and daunting to try to think of a base build that is that large. Whereas this is such a good scale for the average. Well, I don't even want to call you average player, but for the majority of grounded players, this is a base size that I think is very achievable, and it's a great showcase of the different materials, how you can add details in by flipping the different blocks and switching them, adding hand railings in with interesting designs. Like every aspect of this very similarly to like Ludarav's base is small base, lots of detail, and it's where you can, this isn't an overwhelming amount of materials to gather. Any player can gather this amount of materials that you've done. So it's a very realistic build, but it also showcases so many little design details. So I have to say congratulations and a great job on this build, because it's so small and simple, but it's just very succinct and well put together. The design, every decision you made seems very intentional and adds a lot to the base design overall. So in terms of scores, we're rocking through these a little bit, but these smaller ones don't have quite as much to look at. I would say first impressions, easy 5 out of 5. I've blown away, honestly, the whole reveal thing as well, and it looks like you're potentially going to be kind of expanding this base, but the idea of, and I think if we were on maybe a higher quality graphics setting, that the lighting would even glow through here. I would love to see some like cool lighting effects that like go through this area and lead you visually into like create that like tunnel effect with like the light speed almost. So when you run through your cool little gate setup here, it just like leads you and adds to the lighting effect. And as you're building here, I'm assuming you're potentially building more in here. So I think it'd be a really interesting way. And then potentially like building like a wall system of some kind around this and sort of enclosing your base, and just more lighting and more craziness. I think it would be really cool. Uh-oh. You walk right on past. Hopefully their bugs are turned off. I don't know if they are. Layout and flow. Easy. That was horrifying. Easy 5 on your layout and flow out of 5. So it's simple. It's easy. It's not confusing to get around. Compared to some of our other bases that we've reviewed tonight, they were confusing and the layout is different. But this is a very functional, simple base layout. It's really easy to get in and out of it. Easy to bring your buggies in and out of it. So that all makes a ton of sense. In terms of the structure and realism, I think you've absolutely knocked it out of the park. I think all the design decisions feel really intentional, and I really, really enjoy the way you've kind of put this whole thing together. The design and aesthetics and creativity and a theme, easy 5 out of 5. It feels like you've just made simple design decisions and executed them flawlessly, especially with adding in these materials that feel very intentional, that you put lighting on these stem areas to have it glow through and create the effect. So the creativity is awesome. The design is awesome. Yeah, all the aesthetics, easy 5s on those. I'm a huge fan of how you've taken such a small base and added so much detail into it. It just looks really, really good. I would say functionality as well, super functional. It's funny that you put the buggies up top, but you found a way by utilizing the ramp that you made to make it really functional and an interesting design aspect of the base overall. So I would say very, very good job on that. It can be very difficult to use something like the buggies in a weird space because it doesn't naturally feel like they want to be upstairs. But when you add something like that ramp, it makes a lot of sense to have them up top like that. And it adds a fun aspect to the build overall. I really want to kill that scorpion so he stops bugging us. And say, in terms of improvements, as always, more is great. I don't think you need to add a ton to this to make it better. Maybe adding a slightly more designed storage space for your stems and grass and stuff, I think would be interesting. I think you naturally have this space, so maybe make this part of the design a little bit more. I think it would benefit from that. Oh, yeah. We're gonna have to kill this guy. Bear with me. It's like he knew I was coming. And gave me my staff and everything. You stop blocking. Bear with me. Nerd. How rude. How rude to interrupt us like that. Yeah, so back to improvements. Say overall, it works really well. Your spaces are filled up nicely. It doesn't feel like it's lacking any major details. You could probably add maybe a little bit more furniture, maybe a little wall decor in here on top of what you've done, just to add a little bit more detail, because it feels like the outside is heavily, heavily detailed, and the inside is just a little bit less detailed, so maybe just a little bit more design, maybe in this room specifically, would potentially benefit just the inside. Look at this dude. I'll finish that. And then, as I was saying, I can only really tell from what it looks like you're building at the moment, but I'd love to see this as more of an integral part of the entrance, like into a fortified base. I could really, really see this becoming like palisade walls kind of all around the outside here, just locking you in, protecting this base, and then you can kind of like have them die into these hillsides and stuff, so it won't be palisade walls everywhere, but it could be really interesting to have these kind of like die into these different spaces, and then as well, like closing these off, creating more exits and entrances, and then this becomes sort of the main like entryway to this like fortified little base location you have, and then potentially doing crazy lighting effects. Not sure if you can necessarily place lights on the yeah, you can place them on the logs. So I would love to see maybe some like lines of lights kind of lighting this space up specifically and creating an even more like epic entrance to the little base itself. I think there could be something really interesting in terms of additions by continuing what you have here and integrating this as like an entrance to sort of a protected little island of a base that you have, because this already feels like a naturally protected area. So I think it could be a really interesting way to add on and create more for this space. And then you could also start building more little interesting houses and bases kind of going out these different directions, or adding in little huts and stuff. Like there's a lot of potential for creating like almost a little like village, or similar to the Melly Mel's base, where you have this almost like little fortified mansion sort of feel, because this isn't necessarily a mansion. They're definitely a different style of build from that, but it could be sort of a similar aesthetic overall to kind of add in that to the overall build, and close it and make this feel less like one building placed in the middle of this little ravine or crevasse, whatever you want to call it, and more of creating this really cool fortified kind of space. I think could be really interesting. But again, really, really well done. Again, thank you, Easy Jones, for letting us view this one. I love how detailed and like small and succinct the space is, while still accomplishing everything a base needs to do. So it's a more digestible base size for the majority of grounded players. So I think there's a lot of stuff people can take from the design of this base overall and potentially add to their own bases. I love the depth in between these two layers that you've done, where you're using curved and square walls, and it's just like it adds a huge amount of detail with very minimal overall work, which I think is a really effective and smart way to build a base. So I'm a big fan. Definitely want to thank you for letting me view it, and it was a very good one. Trying to get a similar effect with lights in my base, but can't get it right. Yeah, it can be a challenge to get the right glow. A lot of it's like backlighting, not just using the lights. Like how these lights are on the inside, you get that glow effect instead of like an overly saturated bright light, which is really nice. But it takes a little bit of work to kind of get it figured out. Welcome in, Rainbow. Hope you're having a good night. Almost a face out front. I keep thinking a big machine. Could be. Yeah, it's kind of a face. Maybe like eyes, nose, mouth. Very interesting design though. You too. Apparently I can't listen to either of you. All right. No, you guys are fine. Enjoy yourselves. All good. You guys have to entertain yourselves a little bit while I'm doing the base reviews themselves, since I'm not interacting with chat quite as much as I maybe once normally would. No, you guys are fine. Enjoy yourselves. You're not like overly spamming or anything, so it's all good. Oh, all right, y'all. I'm gonna have to call it there. I am toast. I've had a headache the whole stream, so I appreciate everyone joining, and hopefully I had good energy. Hopefully the stream wasn't too laggy or anything. But I definitely appreciate everyone hanging out for the night, and hopefully you enjoyed the base tours and enjoyed all of the interesting, unique designs. Keep an eye out. I'm going to be trying to make base review videos like once a week or so, assuming that we can fill up all the slots, and hopefully do. I mean, we did 8 of them tonight, so we could definitely get through quite a few of them, especially as we get more build pieces and stuff. But I will definitely continue doing these. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I love seeing everyone's bases. It gets me really excited to start building on my streams for tomorrow and Thursday. Gives me a ton of ideas and makes for really, really good content. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. I will look at DMs and stuff, but I am gonna call it on stream and base reviews for the night. Make sure, if you're not part of the Discord, make sure to join the Discord. If you want me to review your base, DM me on Discord. Send me your Xbox username and I will add you as a friend, and we can get your world save shared, and I can get you on the list for next Tuesday's stream, because as Tuesdays are, we are doing Tour Tuesdays moving forward. So we will, as long as we have people that want to show off their bases and have interesting designs, I'm going to plan on doing a Grounded 1 base review night at some point, probably a couple weeks down the road after we get through more of the people reaching out about Grounded 2 stuff. But we'll definitely hop around on that, do some Grounded 1 stuff, and then we will also potentially be re-reviewing people's bases. I want to give everyone a couple weeks to build and improve designs before we just jump back in and review them, because I would hope that there are some major changes if we're going to re-review them. But I do like the idea of seeing how you guys take the advice and inspiration from other people's builds, and how you potentially change your own builds and make them bigger and better and more interesting. And once again, appreciate everyone hanging out. I will be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Very possible that I might be a little late tomorrow because I'm going to be watching my son on my own till my wife gets back from an event. So hopefully 7. If not, join the Discord, and I will keep everyone up to date when we'll be going live tomorrow, and of course Thursday as well. But thanks again, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.